Wow. Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Happy Saturday. The Bucks beat the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Not a performance many are going to want to remember, but hey, we got to win. We got it out. It's not it's going to be a hot, steamy film session tomorrow. A lot of mistakes. Didn't seem very interested. Didn't really seem like we wanted to be there. And on top of that, we have another shuffling of the offensive line with Donnie Jackson potentially being the starting left tackle as we head to Penn State next week. So we're going to break that down. We've got some film to break down. And we're going to get into this as always. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, this is going to be a very spicy episode. If you guys have questions, fire up those super chats. Again, thank you to our first responders, our police officers, our military folks. Again, you guys are the absolute best. Thank you guys for all that you guys do. Those of you that are working on the weekends, we appreciate you guys so very much as always. But I'm going to get right to my boy, Nevada. This was not what we expected, I guess, when you see how the Indiana Hoosiers absolutely annihilated Nebraska. We were losing to Nebraska near the end of the game. Thank God for Will Howard to rally us and secure the win. But wow, where do we go, my man?
Well, I mean, we won. So it's I didn't think we looked disinterested in being there. I thought the defense did some really good things. I loved the new aggression and the way that they definitely brought the pressure. And you kind of we saw kind of both ends of the pressure spectrum there today because, you know, if the quarterback breaks contain, Rayola was able to break it for a big run. But I thought the defense really took a step forward and did some really, really nice things today. And I was happy with that. Now the offense, look, I'm the biggest Will Howard fan in the world. I thought he was near perfect in the first half. I thought after he threw that interception, he got a little careful with the ball. Didn't like seeing that, but you know, they pulled it together. They got that last touchdown. That last touchdown drive was clutch. But you know, we talked about it after the Oregon game, and after we sat for 4 hours after the Oregon game, and we talked, and I said, losing by 1 point at Outson doesn't really bug me that much. I'm not going to lie. It really doesn't. What bugs me is losing Jimmy Simmons. That bugs me because you can't replace Jimmy Simmons. And we talked about that over and over and over and over and over again. Well, I think probably our worst, at least for me, my worst nightmares came through because Zen can't play. And so, you know, I never, I think that we have, I'm not sure we have a large enough sample size to determine that, but in what we saw, Zen can't play. And that's a shame. And Zen's a nice kid and everything, but now we're on to the kick Donnie Jackson out to the, you know, left tackle and play Luke Montgomery at left guard or whatever shuffling they do going forward. But it can't be worse than Zen. I mean, it can't be worse because Zen was literally getting beat on every single play, and it affected everything that we did. And the offensive line went from team strength to disaster, you know, with a guy that just could not play up there on the front. And look, to me, that's on Justin Fry. That's on Chip Kelly, who I didn't think Chip Kelly called a great game today. And, you know, I thought, you know, Nebraska was clearly selling out to, you know, stop the interior run. And, you know, when Will Howard was able to pull it out a few times when they should have run one of that RPO stuff. But, you know, hey, we got to win. Lots to be unhappy about. You know, I'm old enough to remember the 2002 season where every week was like this. I mean, every week was like this. And so, you know, that one ended up okay. So I'm not ready to give up on the team, burn my jerseys, you know, not go to the games, you know, surrender my Buckeye, because I've seen teams, you know, be able to bring a new guy in and turn things around. I mean, I remember when we couldn't stop anybody defensively, and then they moved Chris Campbell to cornerback from wide receiver, and the defense all of a sudden started clamping. And so, you know, maybe the shuffle on the line is for the good. Maybe, you know, there's some silver line out of it, but we struggled mightily today. But I liked what the defense did. Didn't like that our kicker missed a field goal. You know, watching the Nebraska guy who was 1 for 5 drill 3 in a row, including a 57-yarder. I don't, it's things like that that drive me up the freaking wall. But we won, so I just keep coming back to we won, and like I said, but I thought the defense played good. I gave the defense. I thought the defense battled. The defense definitely wanted to be there. Cody Simon wanted to be there. You know, I still don't, the Sonny Styles thing. I mean, nobody does less with all that ability than Sonny. I mean, he just doesn't have great football instincts, and so I think there was like a fourth down play or a third down play where he's out there covering the tight end, and he just was out there covering air or not covering anybody, and the guy got inside of him and caught the ball. But I thought, defensively, I thought we did, some really good things. I thought the targeting call was brutal, and I thought that might come back and cost us, but it didn't. And so that's kind of my take. At the end of the day, we won, and I will never take for granted wins. I will never take for granted wins on the road. I'll never take for granted wins at home. A win, for me, a win's a win's a win, and I think offensively we have to solve the left tackle issue, because we're not going anywhere if we can't solve that issue. We're not beating, forget Georgia and everybody else. We're just, we're not going to beat Penn State if we can't solve that issue, because that was really bad. And I mean, you and I, we jumped right in the show, so we haven't. You guys, what you're hearing are unvarnished thoughts from Kirk and I. Even though that we do share an All-American tree out there in the Grove, we don't have one mind. And so I'd love to hear my fellow All-Americans' thoughts on the line play today, and where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, Nevada, when I say to you 31 carries for 64 yards, 2.1 a carry, which are two All-American running backs. Quinshawn was 10 for 29, so obviously 2.9, nice easy math. Trey was 10 for 25, so 2.5. And I mean, Trey had a 15 yards. So, I mean, if you take the 15 out, the other 9 were for 10 yards. So I guess 1 yard. I mean, that's as bad as you can do in modern football with a quarterback that can run like Will Howard. And I just, again, it's something they got to fix it. I mean, I was, Zen, and then, Zen doesn't play when he gets hurt. So, I mean, he doesn't even get a chance to redeem himself, because, I mean, he limped off the field, and maybe he'll be okay, but he wasn't putting a lot of pressure on that knee. So whatever got hurt is hurt. And then it was interesting because it's like, do they bring on George Fitzpatrick? Do they put Donnie at left tackle? They end up sliding Donnie out. And then they bring in Luke Montgomery, which was, I thought, stunning, when Austin Sauerveld literally was playing the last drive versus Oregon, that you don't put Austin at left guard. But again, what do I know? Again, I thought I would have bet, that would have been one of those bets where I'm like, yeah, we're going to win for sure. Then we lose at the 15th minute of extra time, give up the goal or whatever. But like, if you had said, Kirk, who's going to be the next guy up if Dottie goes left tackle, I'd say Austin Sauerveld, but put Luke in. So again, is that going to be the lineup, how it's going to look when they go out to Happy Valley? I don't know. But yeah, again, the defense brought more pressure. All of our guys except for Jack up front had a sack, which is good. But, I mean, for as talented as our running backs are and Will Howard, I mean, we have to figure out this. And again, we're going to Happy Valley, and they have monsters at defensive end, and it is going to be hellaciously loud out there. And this is a guy who's played out there twice, and the first time we played out there in 05, we weren't ready for the noise. 07, we were ready for the noise, and went back there in 12 with Urban and the whole crew. And I told those guys, I'm like, look, this is the loudest stadium in the entire country. And they're like, oh, Death Valley, and oh, no way, and you're not from the SEC, you're just some dumb idiot from Ohio. And it's like, no, this place is louder than Death Valley or any other stupid place you guys have been to see. And guess what? That next Sunday, the day after we got back, after that night game out there, they're like, yeah, that was way louder than LSU. So it's going to be a noon game, but Penn State's going to smell blood in the water after this performance. And, we whoever we put at left tackle, we're going to have to manage, and we're going to have to protect. And if you put Donnie out there, I mean, I thought that Donnie should have been the left tackle from Jump Street until Jimmy Simmons kind of stepped up. But, if you have to put your best guy out there, put your best guy out there. But Donnie's going to need help, because he's going to be going against a really good player, very loud. He's never played tackle in college. So, but If that's what he's going to do, that's what he's going to do. But yeah, this was the classic, because Nebraska got speedboated by Indiana last week, and so they obviously, I think, played better. We played worse somehow. Obviously, new left tackle had something to do with it, but it just seemed off. But I mean, our defense was flying around, which is a positive. We were pressuring. We were more inside moves from the DNs. 3 sacks from the front 4, which is great. But yeah, this is, when you're losing and 4 minutes to go, and then, Nebraska, again, I was thinking of you, and I know that they had to do this with the amount of time. I'll say, 4 minutes to go, they punted on 4th down. So that means we have no respect for your running game at all. We're going to punt it, force you to kick it back to us, which they did. And thankfully we got an interception to ice the game down. But yeah, this was, I always try to be positive. This is tough, but again, I was at every home game in 2002, and we had a lot of stinkers that year that weren't really exactly the offense humming, and our defense bailed us out, and that's kind of what this felt like. Nebraska, you look at the record. They're still, they're 5-3 now, but when they play us, they're 5-2. So they're not. This isn't like it's a 2-5 team, not a MAC team, and thank God Dylan Royal was terrible today, because he was the thing that saved us, because he missed a lot of wide open guys, but. I don't know. I just, again, we thought after Oregon that it was going to be an inflection point, but, I obviously after Oregon, I wasn't as down, and I'm not really down today. We still won, but God bless, man. We got to figure out a way to run the ball. We tried, and we 31 attempts, but when you only get 60 yards, man, and again, I know that the long runs count. I get that, but when you have, you have a 10-yard run, a 15-yard run, and a 7-yard run, so Quinchon had 7. I'm just looking at the longs. That's 32 yards. If you take that off the top, those 3, then the other 28 carries are literally for 32 yards. So that's like 1.0 something a carry. So that's, in Happy Valley, man, you have to be able to try to run the ball. And again, I know that Penn State's going to be out for blood, but we were able to throw it over the top with JJ, which was good. Carnell had the, Carnell probably had, I think this is his high, 102 yards, 4 catches. But this will end up being a game where I don't think anybody on offense is going to get a game. This will be like the Jim Knowles a couple weeks ago when he didn't give anybody a silver bullet of the week. Like that's how this offensive performance is going to go down, because this was bad, especially versus a Nebraska team that got exposed versus Indiana last week. So, yeah, I don't know. I know that people want us to beat this team to death, but this is what we got, guys. There's no trading. There's no trade deadline like in the NFL where you go out and find a left tackle. This is why they call you coach. Like I said before, if you can lose Braxton Miller and win a national championship, then you can lose the left tackle and try to manage it. But again, I really think this is going to come down to Chip Kelly and Ryan Day be getting creative to try to protect who our left tackle is, because it's going to be tough. I'm telling you, it is loud at Penn State. It's the hardest place for a tackle to play at, and whoever's going to be out there is going to be making their first start. And so we're going to have, I guess you go Donnie. I have no idea why Austin Sourville didn't go in and they put Luke in. And again, it's nothing against Luke, but Austin Sourville was playing the last drive of the game versus Oregon, going against an All-American defensive tackle who's trying to hit a pass rush move, and you put Luke in. Again, nothing against Luke at all, but that was questionable. And is that the lineup that sticks when we get into Penn State? I would guess by how Zen was limping, he's probably not going to be ready to go next week. So, but we'll see. What else you got, Nevada? I got a little bit of film to break down, but I don't know where to go, because again, Dylan Riola kind of bailed us out by missing a bunch of open throws, but this was an interesting one, man, because I was dead wrong on this. I thought this was going to be a massacre, and thankfully our defense was kind of all over it, and and pressuring, and thank God that showed up, because the rest of the team kind of took the day off. But your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I bet Ohio State today. I thought Ohio State was going to win. So I did not think that we would be. Actually, the defense looked pretty much what I thought they'd look like. I thought that we'd play with more pressure. I thought Nebraska would probably take advantage of that, because I know Nebraska likes to screen a lot. And but I thought we handled the screen game really well. The plays that they hurt us with really were some of the quarterback, the broken contain quarterback run types of plays. But overall, I thought the defense, I think I had Nebraska scoring 14 or something like that. But they didn't really do that much of surprise. I didn't think a kicker would kick a 57-yard field goal and be shooting it all over the lot. But I thought our offense would be able to dictate terms today, and I really, really underestimated how bad Zen was. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, it's like playing with four. It's like being on the power play the entire time in a hockey game, because you're playing with four guys up there on the front line, because he literally couldn't block his guy, and so it would get the running backs were getting killed. Will Howard was getting killed, and it was just it was kind of a comedy of errors, because I think it spread to other guys in terms of what was going on. You'd have to break that down and show me what was going on. Maybe it was just a bad effort by everybody, but my goodness, that was Justin Fry. I keep rooting for Justin Fry to do better and to be better and to not just be Ryan Day's best man, and really, really coach him up. And we were cooking, but now, man, he's gonna have to earn his money. And I think we talked about last week. The major concern coming out of the Oregon game, the three concerns were pressure, Denzel, and finding an answer for Jimmy Simmons. Well, the pressure thing, I was pleased with the answer to that. I to go from what we saw 2 weeks ago to what they brought today, man, they were dialing them up from all directions and dropping guys and bringing guys and twisting guys, and I mean, it was you wanted a carnival of pressure packages, man. We brought it all. Denzel wasn't perfect by any stretch, but he wasn't getting beat every play, so that was good. But the left tackle thing, I really did not think it would be that bad. I thought Zen, when he came there against Oregon, that he kind of held his own and he did okay. And I thought after 2 weeks of practice that he would be capable, and he's just not. And when he's not capable, I mean, look, Quinshon and Trey didn't all of a sudden just start sucking. And so it's not like they forgot how to run. There was no place to run. And I do think Chip Kelly was a C- today game. And for Chip, I think the world of Chip. I think Chip should always be an A- type of performer. And I think he was a C- today. And I think your German Shepherd agrees with me right now. Your German Shepherd's going, Chip was bad. Chip was bad.
I think that they've got they got the offensive line coaches out in my front yard, and my German Shepherds have got foam at their mouth, and they're trying to rip my door down. So yeah, I think that they see the O-line coaches going to get their direct deposits, and the German Shepherds are about to eat them. So again, I was dead wrong. Again, the thing I'll do is I'll own it. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And again, I want to see the guy that called the Nebraska games close games, especially after bye week off, close Oregon game. Team's got the legs back under them, and Nebraska's coming off getting smashed by Indiana. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll probably be maybe not as bad as Indiana, but pretty close. I mean, I think that we're better than Indiana, but Indiana bushwhacked Washington today, and they're. Again, we've got the schedule coming down the pike, Nevada. We got to go to Happy Valley. Then we have the two cream puffs with Purdue, Northwestern. Then we've got to see the Hoosiers, and they're going to come here. And again, like, I've never been worried about Indiana, and I still can't bring myself to be worried about Indiana when they don't have a single player on their entire roster that we offered a scholarship to. Not one. So, again, this coach is, I mean, he's already clinched National Coach of the Year at this point. And then we got Michigan. So, I mean, what are your thoughts if you're this coaching staff and you're, like I can give from a player perspective, because, again, at some point, feelings have to be hurt, jobs have to be threatened. Like, it just is what it is, because when guys aren't, especially offensively, like, again, I worry about leadership in the offensive line room, because I don't know who the leader is. Again, we've got some guys that have been 3-4 year starters, and they're not, they weren't named captains. So that was eyebrow raiser. And, again, is there someone in there that can hold court and hold guys accountable? Because again, this isn't, this is life right here, man. This is, there ain't no one coming to save you. And again, this isn't a loss, and we got to win and everything. But there's got to be someone in that room that says, and it should be Donnie. or maybe Josh Fryer. This is guys. This is, I mean, what are we doing? What are we putting on tape right now? You know, 'cause and again, that's the hard part is when you're a leader and when you're captain or whatever you want to call it. I mean, sometimes you're going to have to say stuff that's going to hurt people's feelings. It might affect their mental health. But you know what? It hurts your mental health worse is getting 60 yards rushing versus a team like Nebraska that's been a sieve on defense. So, you know, I don't know. You know, people, we don't have a magic answer because, you know, if you said that we were going to average 2 yards a carry versus these guys, I'd have said, yeah, there ain't no way, not with Quinshawn and Trey. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one because this is, you know, Ryan is going to feel the full brunt of Columbus and the best damn fans in the land this week, man. Because after this one, I mean, you know, I look up and, you know, there's 4 minutes to go and we're losing, and thank God Quinshawn caught that touchdown to put us ahead. But, you know, I'm like, oh my God, are we going to choke it up versus Nebraska and give Matt Rule his signature victory, you know, in year 2 of his process? But, you know, I mean, this Penn State game is going to be very telling because that is one where Drew Aller all of a sudden doesn't suck. And it's going to be crazy loud because, again, you know, this fan base, you know, we've owned Penn State. Like, we've owned them since, you know, 2011. They've beaten us one time in 16 when they blocked that field goal. So they've been dying to get that signature one. Because, again, the thing about Ohio State is we win so much versus everybody that, like, if they beat us one time in 20 years, even like Fox today, they were showing when Nebraska beat us in 2011, when the game that I was actually at, the first time we ever played at Memorial Stadium in Nebraska, and Braxton, we're beating the tar out of this guy. So Braxton gets hurt. We put in Joe Bauserman, who was the worst quarterback in school history, and we give the game away, lose the game, and it's just like they had to show that. So again, I'm sure they'll show the 16 Penn State game because they always like to bring up the one time that we lose and not the 20 times that we win. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's you know, we turned it over again in our end, which was tough on the defense. The defense was able to kind of hang in there, but this is going to be a big week for Ron Day and the crew. Any other thoughts? We can start digging into the super chats because they are flying in, as you can imagine right now.
Well, no, it's just, I mean, I just think with as a football fan, when you watch something like this, you just, you know, like you said, I'm not surprised by tons. I was really surprised. I mean, sometimes guys do a little better than you think they're going to do, or they do a little worse than you think they're going to do. But man, Zen was bad. I mean, that was just bad. And I feel bad talking because he's a nice kid. So none of this is personal. This isn't, you know, personal complaining about Zen or whatever. He just can't play, wasn't ready to play, couldn't play, you know, whatever. And yeah, that's a problem. You know, that's a problem. And I don't know how you fix it, but I know that you have to fix it. So you know, going to Penn State is not a great place to try to fix this because you've got crowd noise to contend with, you've got talented players, just a wild atmosphere in only a few days to do it. So the Ohio State coaching staff is really, you know, our worst concerns post Oregon have come through because I didn't believe that Denzel could be that bad and would just have 8 for 8 completed on him. And I knew we'd solve the pressure problem. I knew that we would. I'm like, that was solvable. Yeah. The left losing Jimmy, there was no way to sugarcoat. We talked about that. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to go around it. You know, you lose your best player on the offensive line, your first team All-American left tackle, and you hope the next guy can come in and battle and at least hold his own. And it just was not happening. So for me, it's kind of a worst case scenario because, like I said, the defensive stuff, I always knew that we dial it up and figure that out. But this one, we came in, you know, with hopeful. I came in hopeful, and I'm leaving like just kind of throwing my hands up, kind of going, I don't know what we're going to do. And I know if you do not fix that there's nothing that could, because if that's not fixed, then nothing is fixable on offense. If you do not fix the left tackle spot, the offense cannot work. And that's what's concerning / troubling, perplexing. You know, for me, like I said, the defensive stuff. 2 weeks ago, when people were losing about Jim Knowles and the defense, and they never get a stop in the fourth quarter, and I'm just like, guys. Like it just they'll figure it out. They'll get on this. They'll bring the pressure. This one concerns me because I just don't know what the answer is.
A 19-yard field goal. We get the ball back with. So I mean, that to me is outstanding defense. If you hold a team like Oregon to kicking a field goal from their 1 foot line when you know they're dying to punch it in, and then they held Nebraska out again today. They went for it on 4th and 1 from the foot line and dove for it, and our guys punched him out. And so again, that is something to build on. Now, Penn State is different this year because they're better offensively. It came from behind. Obviously, SC is turned into kind of a sieve, but they were down versus SC and they battled back, won that game. I think they've got a lot of confidence. I mean, if I'm watching this tape, I mean, if you're Tom Allen, who's your defensive coordinator, who'd been at Indiana for the last 7, 8, 9 years, whatever, however long he was there after he replaced Kevin Wilson, like that's going to be the question. Is like they're going to attack the absolute crap out of the left side of our offensive line because they have to, and I mean they have to test out Donnie if he's at left tackle, or if they put Austin Sireveld at left guard. I mean, it's going Luke. I mean, I worry about that left side. And if I'm Justin Fry, I don't know if I leave the building tonight. Like, I don't know if I go home and drink a cocktail and watch the night games. I think I'm, trying to figure out what's the best combination to get this thing rolling. And again, the players need to take accountability for this too, because guys, like, this is the season. Like, it's really going to come down to the left side of the offensive line over the next month. Because in the next month we're going to see Penn State and Indiana before obviously Michigan. And you got to get these guys going. And again, Chip Kelly's going to figure out ways. Sometimes you've got guys that aren't quite, Jimmy Simmons. I mean, I talked to an NFL player personnel director this past week, and he literally thought Josh Simmons was the number 1 tackle in the draft class. He's in contention with the guy from Texas. Like, he was that highly regarded, and I thought he was playing fantastic. Now, I didn't think he was the number 1 tackle. I thought the guy from Texas is better, but he was adamant that Josh Simmons was, if he's not 1, he's 2. So losing that is something you can't replace, especially when you have young guys that have never played. I mean, Zen's making his first start, and whoever's starting next week, unless we start Austin Sireveld at guard, which again, I would be shocked. Again, I don't know what we're doing not putting Austin Sireveld in. When he played the last drive of the Oregon game, you put Luke in. And again, nothing against Luke, but dude, like, Austin Sireveld has got starts under his belt, and he should be starting over Teager, in my opinion. But again, it's whatever. I mean, those guys make a lot of money, and they've got 10 offensive line coaches, so they're gonna have to figure it out. All right, Nevada, we can start digging into these super chats because they're going to be hot and heavy tonight. This is going to be an interesting show, I think. Let me get this thing. I don't know why the thing's so small. G Chima for life. Thank you for the 5. Why do we incessantly go up the middle on short yardage situations when it usually never works? Why not consistently go around the end or do an RPO? Nevada, I'll let you go first because I feel like I've been talking for a hot minute. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't think Chip had called a good game. I just did not think Chip called a good game. And I don't know how much of that was limited by what was happening at left tackle. Again, until we've had a chance to really, look at the tape and see. I mean, they couldn't run to the left side with what was going on there. They certainly couldn't run consistently there. And, I really don't have an answer. I think Chip Kelly needs to be better than that. I think Chip Kelly's been, masterful in a lot of situations this year. Did not think today was a good day for him. And, I felt the offense was a little bit wonky, was a little bit, as crisp as I think Will Howard was like 9 for 9 in the first half or whatever it was. And, I still felt the offense was just a little out of sorts. And, again, a lot of that has to do with your left tackle play, but I don't really have a good answer for it because Chip usually is better about that. But that one time that we ran on 4th down and ran it right up the middle, I thought that was, in a game of some questionable offensive calls, I thought that was the worst of the worst. And I'm sure Chip would say that as well. But I don't give Chip a passing grade for today's offensive performance for sure.
Yeah, and I also it was interesting. They did get some consistent pressure on spin moves as well on 3rd down, is something I noticed I've been screaming about for Jack and JT. But I think that anytime we call a short yardage play that isn't a read option, I want to shoot whoever called it into the sun. If it's Chip Kelly, Ryan Day, whoever, because not reading somebody and not giving Will Howard the option to pull it. Because again, a lot of times we just hand it off and Quinchon or Trey, they run right into a pretty heavy front, and it's too easy to stop. Like again, like when you got a guy like Will, you got to give him the option to pull it. And even if you throw the RPO on top of it, then it's basically like a triple option where you can either hand it off, you can throw obviously the quick game, or you just run it. Which again, like I like to get Will out on the edge. I'd like to move the pocket more than we do. Get him out. He's a good athlete. I think moving the pocket is critical for next week, just because you can't let him stand in a static pocket if our left tackle is going to be going against their really good end. They've got a really good end, Abdul Carter, who is a first round all day type guy, monster. And if we just want to sit back there, then Will Howard better wear 2 rib protectors. He's gonna get hit. Again, I think that we have to protect whoever plays left tackle next week, and there's ways to do it. You move the pocket, you run naked bootlegs, you keep a tight end in. You have I don't even like the running backs chipping, but put a tight end in a wing, let him help out. Wherever that defensive end goes, who's the good one, the really good one, you got to get 4 hands on him. You got to get a tight end and a tackle to touch him, disrupt his timing, because that's going to be the story of the game is going to be their pass rush versus our tackles. That's going to be it. Because again, both their ends are really good. One's really good, and that's what it's going to come down to. But anytime we do these short yardage plays where we just hand it off and there's no read, there's no out, it drives me nuts. Again, I texted you early in the game when I quoted your little favorite Justin Fry thing where, he said at the press conference where I point right where I'm going and they got to stop me or they got to feel me. And again, I like Justin. I think Justin's a great person. I thought that was the dumbest quote I've ever heard in my life, because I'm all about deception and speed and trickery and getting stuff to the edge. Because again, when you play real teams, it's hard to just push guys backwards off the ball. Like when you're playing Penn State, Michigan, like you're not just going to man block one-on-one and push back, their 340 pound nose guard, like one-on-one. You got to, do a motion, do a read, do something to make it confusing. Because again, like when Chip Kelly's offense is at its best, there's a lot of speed, a lot of confusion, a lot of power. And so some of the stuff that we ran today was just like, I'm like, this looks like the old offense, which not a big fan of. Jojo, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. With the offensive line allergic to blocking in substitution for the offensive line joke, is it time for Fry to go? Nevada, what are your thoughts on did we get Stud out of the retirement home and get him rolling back out here? Because again, Stud was the devil until all of a sudden.
I know. No, for years I was the only one to be like, "Guy, he's not that." But Stud's so bad. We got to fire Stud. And I was like, "Guys, I'm just telling you, he recruits 5 stars every year. The offenses are clicking. Oh no. I mean." I let's put it this way: if the offensive line doesn't improve, Justin Fry is going to be gone, just because Ryan's running out of people to fire, and he's fired everybody else, and he's not going to fire himself. But and they've got Drevno there. I'm shocked how bad the left tackle play was. I'm really shocked. I mean, we could kind of this one goes up there. It wasn't as bad as Missouri, but because that was truly awful. But for Justin to have to replace one guy and have 2 weeks to do it and a home game type of environment, and he can't coach him up in terms of doing, I just don't know if he's got the right stuff. And I'm not for mid-season course correction firings or something, but let's just be honest. Like, you have to be better than that. And the player, to not be able to do that, Justin Fry now owes. In the last 9 games we played or 8 games we played, he owns 2 of the worst offensive line performances that I've ever seen at Ohio State, in the Missouri game and today. So, I mean, he's working on some sort of a record right now. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame in terms of doing it. And it's great that he's nice, and it's great that he was the best man at Ryan's wedding, and I know that they're really close and stuff like that. but geez Louise, he's got to figure it out. I mean, he's got a lot of dudes there. They've got a lot of different line combinations. They've got to find somebody who. I mean, did you see? I mean, you probably weren't seeing it because you weren't able to. Our TV's still broken in the suite, right? So you couldn't see the replays.
There's a big cloud in the middle of it. Yeah, the TV. I mean, I think that like the ghost of Gene Smith now inhabits our TV, like, and just sits there in the middle of it, like it's like a big rain cloud right in the middle of the TV. So there were some parts I didn't see. So I didn't always see the middle of the line because the cloud was sitting there, big grumpy cloud.
The second play of the game, like he just got like rushed and he fell down and he tried to grab the guy and he couldn't even grab him to hold him, and it was just like, oh dear God, what is going on? So. Yeah, I mean, I would think that if the line play doesn't improve considerably, then yeah, I would bet that Justin will be gone at the end of the year, friend or no friend.
Well, I mean, there's a 3rd and 1 with a minute to go in the third quarter, and like you look at it, and it so happens I'm rewatching it, and it's like it's clearly not a read option because what the end does would have Will Howard pull it and run around the corner. And if he pulls it, he's running for 20 yards, but he hands it and it's literally tackle for loss. I mean, it's a light box. I mean, it's a 6-man box. Like we're fine, but we don't read anybody, you know, and we hand it and, you know, poor Trey gets hit in the backfield. Again, I feel bad because, you know, Trey, these guys, you know, Trey tries to shoulder through it, but, you know, when 3 guys show up, he looks like Hodor when Hodor is trying to hold the door in Game of Thrones, and all of a sudden he gets eaten by all the White Walkers or whatever they were. So I mean, I don't know how you don't run a read option there, you know, or at least run something, you know, do something to mix it up. I mean, but I just think that, you know, teams have a book on us now, and they're reading the book, and it's pretty easy to describe it. But yeah, this would be, you know, it'll be interesting to see what Ryan does, because again, this is one where. Again, I know what Urban would have done. Like, if we would have had a performance like this, and we had games like this that were stinkers, I mean, he would beat us to death. And again, when we're getting beat to death, guess what? That means those kids are going to be in that meeting room for a long time. We're going to be doing a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of individual drills. Like, tomorrow's practice is not going to be some chill. I mean, it's going to be like a real practice. Like, we're going to be getting after it. And again, you know, I really wonder about the leadership of the offensive line. And I'm not being critical of him, but it's like, you know, at some point, the guys got to get together and say, guys, this is not acceptable. We got to figure it out. And again, you know, I know Donnie, very soft-spoken kid, great kid, nice kid. Josh Fryer, you know, I don't know where their confidence is. You know, because I think that at some point, sometimes I think guys feel like that they're not playing good enough to be critical of other players. You know, because again, it's really hard if you're out there sucking. It's really hard to be critical of other players, but yeah, so that kind of compels you to be good, which is like something that drove me, because I was like, you know, when I was a captain and a senior and I was doing my thing, like I knew I had to go out there and ball. Like I could be out there sucking and then trying to lead guys, and then they turn on the tape and it looks like vomit. So I don't know where the leadership's going to come from, because, you know, maybe Seth feels like he's too new, but like at some point you have to call guys out. And again, they might turn down coming to your wedding. They might not be your buddies anymore, but hey, you know, at the end of the day, if you're the unit that the whole team is looking at because you're not up to the standard of Ohio State or excellence or whatever, then sometimes some feelings are going to get hurt, and so hearts are going to get broken, and there's going to be some swear words. And again, I was never talkative until I had to be. Like when I was a senior and Troy was gone, and, you know, our vocal leadership was gone from our team, I had to become that guy, and so I had to be the exorcist. And I had, you know, when we sucked versus some of those teams, and you go back and look at our box scores, we weren't lighting it on fire versus Akron when we were winning 3-2 at halftime. Like I had to melt the walls and kind of be a prick, which again, as you guys know, I love being the bad guy and I love being the mean guy and all of that. But I really was like that when I had to play, because again, there's some guys that they might think that it's okay that we won. They might think that it's acceptable. And to me, like, you know, when you can't piss a drop in the running game, it's really going to be hard to beat Penn State, because you have to run the ball on the road. You have to win the rushing battle, which we lost today. Thankfully, like Dylan Royal was so bad that he was able to bail us out and throw a pick at the end of the game. But, you know, you have to run the ball and you have to play great defense to play and win at a place like Penn State. You know, so we're going to have to figure out a way to do it. And again, if that means running Will Howard 10 times, 15 times, got to do it. If that means, you're going to have to help the left tackle for sure. Josh Fryer is going to have to man up and, be on an island a little bit more because, if you got Donnie out there, man, I mean, that is the hardest place in the world to make your first start at left tackle. When he hasn't been playing tackle his entire career. He hasn't played tackle since he was in high school. So if that's the plan, which it looks like that's what it's going to be, then I don't know. And again, maybe Zen will go, but Zen wasn't, he didn't light the world on Friday, obviously, and he doesn't look like he can put a lot of pressure on that leg. So it's going to be, we're down to George Fitzpatrick, we're down to Donnie, we're down to the thing that's honestly mystifying to me is that they put in Luke, and again, this is not banging on Luke, but how do you just never go to Carson Hinsman, who started 12 games last year and played against Michigan and in the big house? Like, I mean, he's that far down the totem pole that you're not going to play him at all. So again, I don't know what Carson did, man, but I mean, he's going to have Watergate photos or something on someone on the coaching staff, because I can't believe that they can't put him in over Luke. And again, I'm not banging on Luke, but Luke's never played at all in a meaningful game other than jumbo tight end last year, but we don't even do that anymore. Whew. All right. AV, thank you for the 5. We're screwed, period. I'm not there yet. Obviously today was not, a banner performance, but again, I have lived long enough to see Ohio State barely beat the Cincinnati Bearcats back when they used to suck in 2002. I've seen teams stink it up and then still do something in the season. Nevada, your thoughts? Are we screwed, period?
No. Anybody who says that just did not live through, I can almost tell the age of the posters. Like, they didn't live through the 2002 season. They didn't. They weren't a fan of 2002. Because if you lived through 2002, you realize that, or frankly, for that matter, 2014. 2014, every game was 35-28 or 43-37 or whatever. And so are we screwed after a win against Nebraska at home? No, we're not screwed. But do we need to find an answer? Like I said, we had 3 questions coming out of Oregon: Denzel, pressure, left tackle. Well, I thought the 2 of the questions got answered pretty well. I mean, Denzel, fine. Pressure was definitely good. But, man, we're leaving with a huge question mark. And we have one big question mark on this team right now, and it's left tackle. Got to find an answer to it. So are we screwed? No. Now, if we don't find an answer to the left tackle problem, are we screwed? Yeah, we're screwed. So figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you don't have a choice. Tanner Croft, thanks for the 10. Do you guys have any scoop? Oh, this is funny. I didn't even read this. Do you have any scoop on the Carson Hinsman situation? Seems like an easy fix to fill one of the guard spots with Donnie tackle doghouse. I mean, I don't even know if he's in the doghouse at this point. I think he's under the doghouse, under the stadium, he's next to Jimmy Hoff at the Meadowlands at this point. I mean, I have no idea. Like, I don't know what Carson did, man. But again, I've never seen a guy who as a freshman started 12 games get buried to the point where he's like the 3rd or 4th or 5th. He's literally the 5th interior guy now, because if you're going to put in, Tigra, Austin, Donnie, Luke, and then you're all the way down to Carson. I mean, it's honestly, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a guy who's a 12-game starter who he gets in with the last 5 minutes to go versus Akron, and that's it. So I don't know. That is one of the weirdest ones of all time. And again, I don't go to practice is closed, but it's just like, Nevada, I've never seen anything like a guy that, especially on the O-line, a 12-game starter get relegated to, the shadow realm. I don't know. I mean, I would try Carson. I mean, like I said, was he great last year? No. Was he okay? Yeah, he was okay last year. He was a freshman. And again, when you're starting a guy that young in the Big Ten, there's going to be some moments where you're like, yeah, he's got to get stronger. But again, Carson had a great offseason. He was an Iron Buckeye. And again, being an Iron Buckeye, which is like, it's the whole offseason of training with Mickey, you can't have a loaf, you can't miss a day. And again, like some of that sounds pretty remedial, but like they only had like 10 of them out of the 130 guys on the entire team. And Carson Hinsman was one of them. And he's like the 20th guy off the bench on the O-line. So again, I've never seen anything like the Carson Hinsman situation. I mean, I would try him at guard. I mean, he played against Michigan last year, played against their 2 really good D tackles that are, Matt Miller from ESPN, he released his top 50, and the one guy is the number 3 guy, and the bigger fat guy, Graham, is like the 20th guy. So 2 of the top 50 NFL draft prospects are those 2 Michigan D tackles, according to ESPN. Now, again, that's them. It's not me. They're not God, and things can change, but they're thought of pretty highly in NFL circles. And Carson was blocking both of them, hanging in there pretty good. So again, I don't know what has happened, but again, I think everything's on the table at this point because they went with Donnie at the end of the game to ice it. But if you have time to get George ready at left tackle or keep Donnie at left tackle and figure out who you're going to do at left guard, again, if you put a gun to my head, I can't imagine why you wouldn't play Austin Seyerveld, especially when he played so well versus Oregon. And, he was in there at right guard a little bit today, but he's already been a proven commodity in a loud environment like Allison Stadium, where you trusted him in the final drive of the game to block 55 from the D tackle from Oregon, who's midseason All-American. I mean, he locked him up and did a great job on him. So you need a guy that can pass block next week. Nevada, your thoughts again? Tanner Croft, thanks for the 10 on the Carson Hinsman situation. I've literally never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, it's bizarre, and it clearly can't have anything. I know that people speculate, and I'm not sure if you're kidding around when you say it, but about the podcast or what he said in the podcast. But like, there's no way that can be it. I mean, you're in a situation where you've got, we're now in the code red situation where they got to get somebody in there. You've got a guy who's got 15 starts under his belt. To not go to him, I really don't have any idea how they wouldn't go to him. I just think it makes so much sense. I think it's so logical, but they didn't go to him today. They went to Montgomery. They kicked Donnie Jackson out to the left, and I thought the Donnie thing moving out the left tackle made a lot of sense. I think we've got more guard types on our roster, and that seems like a little easier to fill. None of it easy, but some of it easier. So to me, that seems like the answer. But no, the Carson Hinsman thing is truly mysterious because we've seen him play. We saw him play, 14 games last year, 13 games, 15 games, whatever it was, and he was far from awful. And Zen was awful, truly awful today. So Carson could have gone out there in a lawn chair and played better than what Zen did today. And that's just. But maybe they go to him now. Maybe he comes off the bench and plays well and does something. But they're going to have to take a long look at a lot of guys because that's a huge question right now.
Yeah, Chocolate Chip Scoochie, thanks for the 10. Appreciate you, man. A 54-yard field goal before the half with absolutely no pressure on kicking defense. It's without question a field goal kick. They've gotten 4 field goals blocked. Why the F do we not put any effort into special teams? I don't know. I mean, it drives me crazy that a team like Nebraska can have a guy bang a 54-yarder home and we can't hit a 40-yarder when we need it. And again, the special teams have been a huge question mark, basically week over week at this point, which is, again, it was real easy to beat the tar out of Parker Fleming because he was just an easy subject, but it hasn't gotten any better. And I mean, I'm telling you, it's strange. We didn't rush him on a punt. Again, Joel Klatt he's one of the dumbest human beings I've ever listened. I mean, I can't believe when I listen to this guy who gets paid to speak. I mean, at the very end of the game, he's like, does it make sense for Ohio State to come after this punt? This is like when they're kicking it and it's in grind, which is grind is 4 minute. You have to get a couple of first downs to end the game. And he's like, does it make sense for Ohio State to come after this punt? And I'm like, why on earth with 4 minutes to go would you try to block a punt and potentially rough a kicker and get a 15-yard automatic? I mean, you can tell when guys are just dumb. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard a commentator say. I was like, I don't want to go anywhere near that punter. I mean, I want to check and make sure they're not going to fake it because you need the biggest balls of all time to do that. But he literally said that. I was like, why don't you just rush this? But again, I know that they've had kicks blocked, but the fact that he said that you should rush the thing with 4 minutes to go and they're kicking you the ball back was literal insanity. Nevada, your thoughts. Again, Chuck Chip Scoochie, thank you for the 10. He says 54-yard field goal before the half with absolutely no pressure on kicking defense. They've had 4 field goals blocked. Why do we not, I guess, pressure them? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think there was any way that the kid who was 1 for 5 was going to kick a 54-yard field goal. And kind of like you presented on the 4 minute thing, maybe you rough the kicker, make it
Oh
closer to
God.
him. You jump offside. I mean, there's a million things that could have happened that would have been bad. Um, so I think the best thing to do is just to line it up, let him kick it, and somehow he made it. So we always seem to bring out the best in other kickers, man. They kick well, and our guys don't. I mean, it's uncanny, man. It's uncanny how many
Dude,
times it happens.
they
I'm
turned
sure
into
they,
Morton Anderson all of a sudden. Like Morton
no,
Anderson's like the ghost of
no,
Morton Anderson takes over.
the team could roll you out there as like the replacement kicker or something like that. And
Oh
you kick
yeah.
some 63-yarder a la Tom Dempsey or something like that. It would be like, well, we didn't even know Kirk could kick, and he's like, I didn't even know I could kick. It's just like, but yeah, that was crazy.
It'd be like Janikowski. I'd come out of like hot coke all over my jersey and just come slumped out over there and just bang a 63-yarder over there. Like, where'd they get this guy from? Why can't we get one of those? Why can't we can't even hit a 40-yard field goal. It's like, but these guys get some guy out of the suite and he's out there banging them 63-yarders. Yeah, it's mystifying. Because again, I just think with the portal, how could you not get a kicker? But yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's going to be a long week. I mean, Happy Valley is no joke, and that place is going to be an inferno next week. And again, this week to figure out what you guys are made of, and this is going to be a big week for Ryan. And people are going to be circling the wagons, or the vultures of Columbus are going to be all over Ryan's house at this point, man, because they're waiting for his downfall next week. So again, keep waiting for the opportunities for this leadership to step up, and it's time for it's time to hurt some feelings, in my opinion. Brady Lang this for the 5. Team is done. Senior class and day have been total failures. Fire Day before we lose JJ, Julian Downs, etc. Oh, Nevada, there comes. Fire Day, so we keep Julian saying happy. Oh, God. What are your thoughts on that?
Can I just say thanks for the Can I just say thanks for the $5? Can I just say thanks? Thanks for the $5. That's great.
I can't believe that the Kirk Signetti to Columbus train hasn't started yet. Because I mean, I feel like I can feel it. It's the most predictable thing of all time. Oh yeah, the train is warming up, baby, from Bloomington. I mean, people are that guy. He is a hybrid of Bear Bryant and Joe Paterno and Bill Belichick now. 65 years old.
Wait till Kim dresses up your kids in like their little Signetti jerseys.
I know, little headset, and he walks around saying, "Google me." That's what my 7-year-old say. He'll walk around saying, "Google me, I win." I'll be like, "Oh my God!"
Well,
go take the trash out.
No, it'll be like the Connor Stallions thing where your little kid will dress up for Halloween. I'm Kurt Signetti. Here I am. I'm going to be the next coach at Ohio State.
Maybe the next coach at Bama. The career guy next to the 5. I think we can all agree this team is not well coached. I was a fan of Day, but now I think it's time to move on. Nevada, time to move on from Ryan Day.
No, I'm not ready to move on from Ryan Day. I mean, I have said many times. Yeah, I'm living out in Southern California, being out there with all the USC boosters. They thought that they had hit 777s, 4 aces on the bottom, blackjack, royal flush,
a 10x on the Dream Machine,
10x on the Dream Machine, because we got Lincoln Riley, it's the best thing ever, and now it's just like, oh no, that's not super awesome, and they're not happy pandas right now. So I just think, look, I think Ryan Day's. I think the only fireable offense for Ryan Day this year would be losing to Michigan. If Ryan Day somehow lost to Michigan, he'd get fired. There's no question in my mind. But fire him after a close win against Nebraska? No, I'm not ready to fire him after a close win against Nebraska. I might be ready to fire. I'd fire Justin Fry. I'd put Tim Drevno in there midseason and make kind of like the goalie change and make the players in the room feel sad, because Justin's not going to be able to point and go, my daddy says I'm going to run right to this spot. And then we run in there and get stopped every time. But no, I wouldn't fire Day. I would fire Fry. If we had to fire somebody, if you're like, hey, Nevada, you got to fire somebody, I'm firing Fry. I'd go in there and fire Fry, but I'm not firing Day.
Like right now or at the end of the season?
No, if you said you have to fire somebody, like you have to go to Woody Hayes right now, I'd fire that. And I'd fire the person that orders too many of the steaks and stuff like that, because I know that makes you angry how much food they waste there. I know that makes you angry. I'd be like,
Oh,
hey,
I don't care. I
stop.
just think I'm not paying for it. I just feel like that's why I wouldn't donate. I
Oh,
never
we're all
donate
paying
money
for
because
it. We're all paying for it.
oh yeah.
Yeah. If they weren't wasting that money in steaks, maybe they'd fix my TV in my suite. You know, I'm like, that's a
Oh my
instead of
god.
you got to watch
There's,
The Ring.
they're throwing away like giant, like 50-gallon trash bags full of chicken parmesans because they order so many. I'm like, oh my god. They're like, can we take this to the homeless shelters? Like nobody wants to drive it there, so we just throw it away. No, let them starve. It's like, oh my god, what a bunch of idiots we are.
Oh boy.
If you brought that up of all the funny things, it's like, that makes me mad. I just why?
I know
Okay, Mister, I hate wasting money, Mister. I hate wasting money. Okay, sure, yeah,
I do.
you do.
I do.
Okay,
I do.
All right, let's go. $50 a month savings account. Let's go. Let's talk. All right, Justin Pogue, thanks for the dudes.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
I'm like Omar. I got my shotgun out, walking around right now. Play my little song. Oh yeah, Justin Pogue, thanks for the dudes. Why do we never use fast pace on offense? I have no idea at all why we never go tempo. I have no clue. Absolutely no clue. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I mean, Chip Kelly was the king of warp speed. I've said it. I mean, I would tempo these teams to death, but we just, we don't. Oh my God. We had a play where Tigra pulled and ran into Donnie. 10 minutes and 16 seconds to go, fourth quarter. Our right guard pulled and ran into the left guard. So Tigra literally ran the exact opposite of the play he was supposed to be running. And we had two guards pull and run into each other. So again, I've been saying Austin Cyrils play, like that's the play. I almost want to break that down, but that's not going to be on a highlight reel. But I mean, that's as bad as it gets when the guard runs into the other guard. You look like it looks like a fifth grade, Pop Warner team. But I don't know, Nevada. I mean, I love tempo. We refuse to do it. Oregon tempoed us to death and they beat us using tempo. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I mean, every now and then we'll go up there and it looks like we're going to run it fast, and I'm like, all right, here we go, we're ready to go, and we don't do it. I think it's a mistake, but that's one of the things. It's kind of like bringing pressure. Like that's something they can change. They could change this week. They practice it all the time. They could just dial it up and call it. So that's not unfixable. The left tackle situation is one that might be unfixed. That's like I said, that's the only thing that concerns me. The defensive pressure thing, I knew we could fix. The Denzel thing, I knew we could fix. I hope our games don't come down to a field goal because I'm not sure you can fix that. And this left tackle thing, you got to do. But as for tempo, they practice it all the time. Chip Kelly loves it. He's the master of tempo. I do not know why that's got to be a Ryan Day call that he has decided that he does not want them to go fast. Maybe because they want to give the defense more chance to rest, or whatever. Not being serious. Like you don't want to go fast and go 3 and out and put the defense back in the field. I mean, it's a pace of play issue though, for sure, because Chip loves to go fast, and this team seems like it was built to go fast, but they could turn that on. That's something Ryan could wake up tomorrow and decide that he could do it, and that could all change.
Yeah, it's perplexing, but it is what it is. Amos Auto Paint and Restoration. Hope you're good, my friend. Thanks for the 5. Why do you always play awful after 8 coming off of a bye week? That's a good question. This has been the case for years now. Nevada, have you ever noticed that coming out of a bye that we don't play great? I honestly have. I guess I haven't noticed that, but I don't know. I mean, I think like after a bye, you should be about as sharp as you can be because your body gets a week of rest, which you normally never get. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I thought defensively, we were pretty sharp. I just think, there's something definitely to that. I mean, I'm glad this game was at home. I don't like the fact that the game was at noon. I've always hated big noon kickoffs. Mr. Chicken Parm there is a big fan of the big noon kickoff. I hate them. I think they're sleepy. I heard the crowd today was terrible. That's what I heard.
Oh,
I heard the crowd was just terrible, and but I wasn't there, and so I don't really. It's impossible to tell from the TV. But for people that were home, maybe you guys can rate, or you guys they're at the stadium, rate the crowd on a scale of 1 to 100. 100 being '05 Texas or something like that, and see where this one, where did this one rank you?
I mean, I would say probably about a 10 out of 100. I mean, it was
That's terrible.
it was just complete. Because again, like they're not excited for this game. Again, this is like when you come into a game and you're playing a team that we literally that Indiana absolutely destroyed last week. You're thinking, okay, this will be 65-10, and yay, we're here, and it's good to be in the horseshoe and get overcharged for all the concessions. But other than that, it's like let's just get home and get on to Penn State. Because again, when you have Penn State looming next week and top 5 matchup, game day, big noon, everyone in the world's gonna be at that game. This game's kind of just a stinker, but we we eked it out, and we were able to get a win. That's about the only good thing that happened from today. Sergio Salmon, thanks for the 5. That on play was awful. D was good. Short yardage offense was so bad. No more excuses show up. And PSU waives all sins. Well, I mean, that's kind of what it's got to be. And again, I don't know how loudly I have to say that you need to play. You need to have exceptionally loud noise for every single minute that you're in the Woody Hayes and in practice. And you got to use hand signals, and you've got to use you got to sign language. I mean, we had all kinds of stuff that we did after to deal with the noise. Because again, if you don't have a plan for the noise, it's going to be a disaster. I'm just telling you, especially with the new tackle. I mean, if Donnie's going to be out there on the island, because it's hard out on that island now, especially when it's loud and can't see the ball and you're trying to get off on the mark. And because when you're late versus those pass rushers, your quarterback's going to end up in the infirmary. So they got to have a good plan for that. Nevada, your thoughts against Sergio? I appreciate you, man. Thanks. He says that O-line play was awful. D was good. Short yardage offense was so bad. No more excuses. Show up against Penn State, and that waives all sins. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean the offense wasn't good. I thought the play calling wasn't good, and and the left tackle play was really bad. Like I said, the last week. Though it was funny because after the Oregon game, we had to sit for 4 hours and listen to Fire Knowles, and we'll never be able to bring pressure. And why can't we ever be like Georgia, who's averaging less sacks per game than we are? And all these other questions, and then we answer them, and people are like, no, we'll never bring pressure. It'll never happen. I'm like, guys, we can bring pressure. Well, we had a ton of tackles for loss today. I know that. I mean, I thought the defense came out and played well. Wasn't happy about giving up 17 points, but defense came up and figured it out. Like I said, look, we have one issue right now. We have one issue, and we're not Michigan where we're like we don't have a quarterback, or we don't have wide receivers, or we don't have running backs, or we're missing the left tackle. And this offensive line was really, really good. It was a team strength when Jimmy was out there. They've got to find a way to get that back, and I mean, at Penn State is not normally a good place to be trying to do that, but but it's at least the game's not at night. At least it's not at night. At least it's not in a whiteout at night. So it could be worse, and maybe the Penn State fans will be really sleepy like the Ohio State fans were today. What do you think the chances of that are, Kirk?
No, they're going to be absolutely insane because they're gonna have game day, big noon, and again, like when we come to town, teams go. Absolutely, especially when there's blood in the water. Like they're gonna see this game. They're gonna. I mean, I would imagine. I don't know what the line is for next week. I think it was 4 before this game, but if we're down to our third left tackle, this thing I'd imagine it's almost going to be close to a pick. I'm not gonna. You're the Vegas guy, not me, but I can't imagine that after watching this game that the Sharps are going to be thinking, well, maybe Penn State is the play. Because again, we ran for 60 yards on 30 carries. We were 2 yards a carry or whatever it was. So one-dimensional versus Penn State is you're asking for it. It's going to be tough. So go for that later on the ball. Poober 12, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for being ultra member as well. The O was obviously terrible, but this was a classic trap game. I agree. Off an emotional loss bye week, huge game next week. Nebraska just blown out last week. Yeah, again, all of that. Again, I guess the thing is like, I've lived it when you read the box scores and you watch, these guys watch the Indiana tape all week and they're like, well, we're better than Indiana. And Indiana beat these guys by 50 points or whatever it was. So, again, that mentally, I think was in their heads. And then Nebraska came out after getting bushwhacked and they played much better. And we played terribly. So when you put all that together, you're in a dogfight at the end when you really shouldn't be. That said, why didn't we help Zen out more? Running back tight end ship. I have no idea what these guys do in game planning. And again, I've got a lot of reverence for Chip Kelly. But man, if they said, Kirk, okay, you get to take the whole thing over, and I got a brand new left tackle out there with all these other, Josh Rice is starting for a while now, and these other guys are, they're on start 6-7, Tigra, the center's good. Donnie's year 3 as a starter. You have to help the tackle and pass protection. And again, the way I would do it, put G. Scott or whoever your tight end is in a wing and have him chip or get a hand on the DN. I like the tight end doing it a lot better than the running back, because the running back, a lot of times he's back next to the quarterback, and running backs tend to be, they're unless they're different, they're not great at chipping in general. To chip as a tight end when you're in a wing position, you're right on the hip of the tackle. It's much easier to add just like a little bit of a hand. Like, you don't have to sit there and block him for him, but if you just nudge him and disrupt the defensive end for a second, it makes a huge difference. And again, that's not that hard to do. Even G, who's the worst blocking tight end I've ever seen at Ohio State, he could do it. Just run through the guy and then just do a little flat release or do a little outlet release. Again, but that's to me. And if they don't do that at Penn State next year, it's malpractice. Because whoever our left tackle is going to need help. And both of our tackles need help, but whoever's left tackle is really going to need help, especially versus the good end. And again, Penn State, I'm not sure if they flip, as in they put the end on multiple sides, or if they play left and right, if they play weak and strong. But we're gonna have to figure that out, because again, you got to the one end is the number one end in the country, and we got to make sure that we get some help on him versus whoever he's going against. Nevada, your thoughts? We were 12 again. Thank you for the 10. He says the offense was obviously terrible. That was a classic trap game. Off an emotional loss bye week. Huge game next week. Nebraska just blown out last week. Why do you think we didn't help Zen out, Nevada?
I don't know. I don't know. I kept looking for them to do that, and they didn't. And was this a trap game? I don't think so. I think, had we won at Oregon, I would think it might be a trap. You're looking forward, you're kind of doing, but coming off a loss at Oregon, there's nothing about this that should have been a trap. But at least this wasn't the entire team looked uninterested. I thought the defense flew around out there. Other than Iggy continuing to be so handsy and mugging the guys and doing the thing that he's doing, like he's got to turn his head around and stop grabbing guys, because those 15-yard penalties just kill us. Yep. But I thought, other than that, and Sonny, I'm not ready to go to Sonny can't play, but has he made an impactful play yet this year on defense? Can you think of one?
Didn't he have a sack? Did he have a sack like a week or two ago? I know he had a sack, didn't he? Does that count or no?
I
think he's got one sack. You said one. I said there's one. Sacks count to me.
Yeah. It's.
Can I cash my bet? Do I get to cash it? Or no, are you going to say? Are you going to say that's syndicate action? Is that syndicate action? That's not syndicate action.
No. I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you over to the Woody Hayes out center. Pick up some chicken parms. I've got 50 chicken parms for you in a bag for you outside the Woody Hayes.
No, it's not 50. It's 500. I've got 500 chicken parms.
Daddy, why are we going in the trash cans? There's chicken parm in there.
There's big bags of chicken parms. Just go get the hose and rinse off the residue outside the bags. The chicken on the inside's still good. It's like, don't tell your mom. This is from Carfagna's. This isn't from the Woody Hayes trash bin. I promise. Oh my God. We're delirious at this point. It's like Sergio Sama, thanks for the deuce. More chicken parm. I'm like Ray Ferrari. Just call me chicken parm the whole time. I'm going to order chicken parm. I'm going to eat it on the show tomorrow. I can't wait. It'll be great. Sergio Sama, thanks for the deuce. We should QB sneak the ball on 3rd and 4. I mean, the QB sneak is like, it works every time we do it. I don't know why we don't do it all the time. I don't know why we turn and hand the ball off when we could just sneak it, but I don't know. Nevada, the sneak's been pretty good. This is the play. Fourth quarter, 4 minutes and 40 seconds left, 4th and 12. Joel Klatt says we should go rush the punter. And he said, he literally said, if there is a running into the punter, it's only a 5-yard penalty and that would be worth it. And I'm like, so you're going to risk just barely touching the punter as opposed to full all out. You have to risk that the official's not going to call, roughing, which is 15 and an automatic first down. Again, stupid as I've ever heard. Nevada, your thoughts? We should sneak the ball on 3rd and 4. Yes, no, maybe so.
Well, I mean, if they're not covering up the nose, I mean, I
go get it.
Will's hard to, go get it. I mean, it's hard to stop. I mean, I like that play where they circled Trey out and then they threw it to him. I think Will should have just that looked to me like it was an obvious quarterback draw, and where you do the pump fake and then you run up the middle. I'm sure they'll try to call something like that off of that going forward. But no, I don't know. I love the quarterback sneak. We're doing it more this year than we've ever done it before. But do we do it enough? Not for my taste. So
yeah, it's yeah. Sergio, again, thanks for the 5. Appreciate it, my friend. That targeting call was so effing bad. Are the refs shooting was Nevada? What were your thoughts on the targeting call? We've been going for like an hour and we haven't even talked about the targeting call. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, whenever you show a play in slow motion, it will appear that there's like head contact or contact to the neck. Every single play. So when they do these slow motion plays, unless somebody launches, lowers their head, puts the helmet into the side of the guy's head, it shouldn't be a targeting. And that was not and you will never convince me that the targeting that was called on the field in the Georgia game where Marvin Harrison was knocked out of the game with a shot to the head and the flag was picked up, that should be picked up and that flag should be implemented and called today. I think it's crazy. I think it's I'm not even sure what the rule. I mean, I know what the rule is, but that had none of the indicators. He didn't launch. He didn't lower his head. He made a football play. If there was there was no contact to the helmet. If there's any contact to the neck area, it was completely incidental. I thought it was a brutal call and good on the defense that they were able to force that turnover and close the game out. And but that won't count as a stop today because this wasn't an important game or a big game or a defensive stop or whatever it is. So I'm sure it won't shut up some folks or anything. But I thought the defense played good, and I thought that was a terrible call. Just a terrible. I knew it was coming though. I knew it was totally coming, but I thought it was terrible.
You could feel it coming in the air tonight.
I could feel it coming in there.
In the air today, not at night, because we're not allowed to play at night ever. We always have to play at noon.
Yeah.
Big noon in the shoe. Yeah. That's what we do.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Dave Mathis, for the Deuce. Best app or place to get tickets to the game, Nevada OH.
I'm going
to say Ticketmaster. I use Ticketmaster for everything just because it's easy and everything's electronic now. Like paper tickets don't exist anymore. So, again, I would always wait till the very last second and buy the tickets then. You're never going to get shut out of a game. The tickets never go up. I mean, I would wait till even after kickoff. I mean, because then people get real desperate. And if you can miss the first 5 minutes of the game, then magically you'll probably save 50% on what they were offering. But I use Ticketmaster all the time. I use it for Blue Jackets. I use it for concerts. I use it for Ohio State. Never fails. You instantly get your tickets. You put them in your Apple iPhone wallet and boom, walk in the stadium, easy peasy. Nevada, is there any other app to use? I know that there's StubHub and whatever else, but Ticketmaster's so simple and it never fails, and it's the official reseller of Ohio State, so you can't get screwed or whatever, shut out or whatever. But Any thoughts on that?
I mean, TickPick is really good because they don't charge fees. So like a lot of these places, when you go on to buy tickets, you'll see it. And they'll say $39, and then by the time you buy the tickets, it's like $139.
Yes.
TickPick, literally the price they show you is the price you pay. And again, I'm not paid by TickPick. This is not a paid, but I use TickPick. TickPick's my go-to one whenever I want to buy tickets in the real sale market, just because I know what I'm going to get.
You say I'm not paid by TickPick, but I'd love to be paid by TickPick if you're listening right now. Nevadabuck, Buckeye Scoop at gmail.com. Right, dear Nevadabuck, love you.
Anybody that makes
anybody else
chicken parm.
Buy the hefty bag. Buy the hefty bag, not in a catering tray. Buy the hefty bag of it. And Kim, I did not get it out of the dumpster. I swear it came like this. They ran out of plastic containers and they put it in the hefty bag, the 50-gallon drum. The cheese is all smeared off on the side of the bag. So I got to use the chicken to get the cheese off the side of the garbage bag. And see, kids, this isn't all bad. I know that we have to podcast for 4 hours for daddy to afford this, but hey, we're here, baby. Saturday. We're getting our whoopings in right now. Larry, IZPRO0. Thanks for the 5. Denny Sutton is also top in pressure. He's also a first-round talent. Don't sleep on him. Yeah, I mean, Penn State's defensive line is the best in the Big Ten. They've got 2 first-rounders on it. They've got some dudes. So, again, no pressure. Loudest place in the country. Best defensive line maybe in the country. So yeah, time to go, boys. Nevada, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a huge challenge. I mean, if you have this discussion with me when we had our offensive line with Jimmy Simmons, I honestly wouldn't be concerned. I loved our offensive line play. I thought we were dominating, creating holes for the running backs, giving Will Howard time to throw. But anybody after watching that performance today would be lying if they didn't say that they have giant concerns and that Ohio State's got their work cut out for them, because they've got to figure it out in just a few days, and that's going to be a big challenge. But I've seen teams do it. Now Ohio State just got to go out and do it.
Yep. Buckeye 1, thanks for the news. Would Ed Warner ever come back to coach the offensive line? Well, he reached out when Ryan Day bulleted Greg Suduara. He reached out to Ryan. I know that for a fact. And Ryan, everyone in the world knew Ryan was going to hire Justin Fry, but Ed reached out to it. He's down at FAU with Herm right now, and they're not exactly lighting the world on fire. So I'm sure he would walk from Miami to Columbus to coach here. I just don't know if that's something that Ryan would be interested in, because Ryan does have a relationship with heads but neither did Urban. So, Nevada, your thoughts? Would Ed Warner ever come back to coach the offensive line?
I hope not. Ed Warner's he's a miserable human being, man. He's just he is just, him better than I do, but I do. He is not a nice guy, and it's not even about being nice. He's just not. He's not a great coach, and he's not a nice person. And we can do better than that. We can do better than that. So bring back Stud.
Bring him back. Build the Stud statue right in the front of the Woody Hayes. We need extra bronze. Get that big rotund body up in there. Bring back Stud. Mike Green, thanks for the 5. Fellas, when are we going to be tired of blaming position coaches every year when it's Ryan Day's job to hire the right coaches? I'm so tired of this. Well, I don't know. Ryan fires 2 position coaches every year. So, the wheel of death is spinning around right now. And I think is Justin the longest tenured guy we got now? Well, Heartland's untouchable, obviously. No one's going to fire Brian, but Larry's still there. Justin, I don't know. Ryan, we know how this goes, Nevada. This time of the year, man, Ryan gets that itchy trigger finger, man. And he's like Roose Bolton, man. He's ready to just whack whatever's in front of him. But, what are your thoughts? Is it Ryan Day's job to hire the right coaches? Obviously, and Mike is also tired of this. What are your thoughts?
And it is Ryan Day's. Look, the buck stops with Ryan. Ryan gets paid a lot of money. He's got ultimate control. over who he wants to have where, and that's how he runs it. And I've always said that was fair. It's his booty on the line, so he gets to make the tough calls, have the things the way that he wants to do it. But so I think that part is inarguable. That the buck stops with him. Now, what about being tired of it? I mean, yeah, I mean, I'll never get tired of winning, man. I'll never get tired of being, winning and having it. And I've seen teams turn around. I saw a team in 2014 that was absolutely dreadful defensively, just terrible. Nothing just giving up points every single week, 12 weeks in a row. Every team, good teams, bad teams, MAC teams, uh, in conference, out of conference, on the road, at home, at night, during the day. That team could not stop anybody. And then went out there and had one of the greatest defensive performances of all time against Wisconsin, and we won 59-0. So I know teams can turn it around in a short period of time. I've seen it happen before. They need to figure out the left tackle position. Let's really boil it down. I really think everything else, we're in a pretty good spot. I thought the defense took a nice step forward. Please don't have the game come down to a field goal, because maybe we need to rescind our things about whether we'd have won that game last week on the field goal at Oregon, because that shank today was that was awful. So let's figure out left tackle, and then we'll see where we go from there.
All right, Nevada. Lisa Shear, appreciate you being on here every single night. Thanks for the 5. Nevada named the top 3 things we need to improve on before. Well, I already know what number 1's going to be. So basically, name the top 2 things we need to improve upon that you hope to get fixed. What are your thoughts? I already know what 1's going to be. So what's 2 and 3, Nevada?
I mean, play. 1's left tackle, 2's play calling, and 3 is field goal kicking. I mean, that's yeah, and I'm gonna do and I'll do 3A and 3B, and 3B is, man, they got to figure out a way to get Sonny going. Sonny, he just never makes any plays out there. So it's like you're playing with 10 guys on defense. And I didn't think our linebackers have been particularly impactful this year. And then Cody comes up with those 2 masterful plays, sniffing out those screens. Because if you go watch those plays, if if Cody doesn't make those tackles, then those plays go for big yards, because those things were set up beautifully, and he ran behind it and made the plays. But those are my concerns. But they got to figure out 1 and 1 and 2 are related. But Chip's going to have to be really, really good next week, and they're going to have to continue to bring pressure against Aller and get him to turn it over, and he'll do that. Aller's perfectly capable of doing that, and I like the pressure packages, so that was good.
Nevada, how on earth was that not a fumble on the targeting call? They called it a completion. It wasn't. They didn't rule it a fumble. They ruled it a straight up. They got to keep the ball after the targeting call. But I mean, he clearly fumbled.
I don't understand. I didn't understand the call. I didn't understand how that was targeting. Yeah. I mean, anytime that 2 people of similar height run into each other on the football field, right?
It's going to be helmet to helmet. Yes.
Our helmets are going to make contact, because we're at the same height when we're going together. There's no way to avoid the fact that look at that helmet. The helmet he made contact. Yeah, by definition, everybody. If you tackle someone and you have your head up and they have their head up, there's going to be helmet to helmet contact. So I do not understand how they could have enforced that from the end of that. I'm glad that they didn't call another 15-yard penalty on Ryan being out in the field and doing that, and because that would have really been unfortunate. Thankfully we only got the sideline warning, but something was off at the play calling today. I'm telling you, I don't know if Ryan Day is dipping more into the play calling stew or what's going on, but the play calling, I didn't like the play. It did not feel like a Chip Kelly called game today, and that was really weird.
No, it looked like last year. I mean, it's like Ryan rolled his sleeve up and put his arm in the stew and stirring it around. He's like, bad play calling stew all over my arm. I don't know, man. It was like the short yard stuff where we're not running the read option. I was like, oh my God, this looks like last year. Let's just run right in the A gap and get smashed. Because again, we're not great on combination blocks, and our guys don't play with their hands up front. So you look at some of the short yardage stuff, you see our guys get pushed back. I'm like, you have to get these guys' hands off your chest. Like, I mean, that's what we just. It's like, please put your hands into my chest plate and push me backwards and shuck me and get a stop, because I watch it over and over again. I've talked for years about how we're terrible with our hands, but I don't know what I'm supposed to say or do. And we have guys that are really strong guys that don't play strong because they don't use their hands at all. So yeah, the three things I obviously left tackle. You know, for me too, I mean, running game. I mean, God bless. I mean, 60 yards with Quinshon Judkins and Trey Henderson is atrocious, and Will Howard. I mean, you got that trio. I mean, you should be shredding teams in the running game. And then, you know, I mean, the field goal kicking has been abysmal. So, again, that's going to cost us because, again, that should have been a little bit safer lead, a little bit more stretched out, and it wasn't. So, thank God our defense was ready to roll. And, you know, I'm glad Ryan did get a 15-yarder, man, because you imagine Ryan got a 15-yarder there, and then by some miracle, Nebraska beats us, and, you know, we give them 30 yards on one play.
No. The best here's the best thing. And I was literally thinking this. I was thinking Ryan's going to get a 15-yarder, and then the fans are going to start pelting the fields with bottles, and they're going to throw another 15-yard penalty on the thing, and it's going to be like 60. It's like
60 yards of penalties. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, I literally was thinking that. I was like, oh man, this could really escalate quickly here. And then I felt responsible. I'm like, man, I told these people to throw the bottles. And then I'm like, man, maybe we shouldn't have done that. No, throw them, man. Just keep throwing them. But they didn't do it. So,
dude, Urban said it on Big Noon. He said, I need to have the bottle button to. And it was funny because he literally said, you know, when there's a bad call and they showed in the replay, I didn't have a button I can hit where it tells everybody to throw bottles on the field to get it reversed. And they're like, you know, and Urban, this is the greatest thing ever because it made me think. He's like, yeah, you know, if it's $250,000, he's like, at Ohio State, that's like half a suite. And I was like, ha, I know the guy that's writing that check. Yeah, $250,000. That gets you a suite and a Curtis Mathis 1987 TV. It doesn't work.
Did you when you're there? Like, do you not point that out to like the suite hostess or something like that? But like, hey, can you fix our TV?
Every week, and it's just like sending them. It's like when you send them a freedom of information request. They just kind of go, eh. They don't respond. This is like we're too busy doing nothing. We can't get to that. I'm just like, oh my God. We have people that are like, man, this suite's really nice, but man, that TV, it's like, you know, we go to Costco and get a new TV for $150 on Black Friday, and nah. All right, Mike Green, thanks for the deuce. Nevada saying, remember 20. Oh, here we go, Nevada. Nevada's saying, remember 2014. Are you saying that Ryan Day is Urban Meyer, Nevada? Is that what you're saying, Nevada? Is that what you said? You said Ryan Day is Urban Meyer?
He is.
You must have been in the cocoa. You must have been taking a bath in the cocoa today, boy.
He is an Urban. I've seen him. Ryan Day, man. I've seen him. Yeah, Ryan Day is Urban Meyer. Yeah. No, I think my point is teams can turn it around. Things can happen, and you know, for me, look, if we'd have gone out today and got shredded defensively and only done the 4-person, and I know that there were posters posted on our board, people on this thing that were just waiting for us to rush 4 people, and so they could stand up and pump their chest. And, I told you, nothing's gonna change. I literally
dying for it.
You guys are the stupidest people. I'm thinking. I'm like, I know you guys are Ohio State fans, and I know some of you guys are posters on our board and stuff like that, but you're really stupid. And so when you do stuff like that, I get dumber reading it. But I know that some people are just like, they're waiting to just stand up and they could not wait. And so when the defense was going off, man, they were just completely, they were just like, when am I going to, I'm going to pivot. Let's pivot. That's the offensive line. Oh, why didn't the offensive line? Why? It's just like, Oh my God, it's just exhausting. I get exhausted when I leave this business. It's going to be because the fans exhaust me. I'm not kidding you. It's going to be. It's going to be just
Like,
because I just get exhausted by the constant pivoting from something to be upset about. Oh, the left tackle. Yeah, we agree. We all agree the left tackle play was terrible. I don't know how Zen could be that bad after 2 weeks off. I didn't think he was that bad in limited time up at Oregon, but he was bad. What do you? What else do you want me to say? He was bad. He was bad. But you know what, Kirk? We won. We won, which means little Kirk and you go get to die for chicken parm post game,
yes,
and
dumpster
everybody's
dive.
happy. Dumpster dive for chicken parm, and we should be happy. This should be a time of celebration. We know, we get it. The left tackle was bad, but I mean, can we be happy that we changed some stuff on defense? Didn't you think the defensive stuff was pretty clever today? I thought the defense did
Yeah,
some really
dude,
nice stuff.
the defense won us the game. Like 2 minutes left. I mean, they get them to second 18. They're pressuring them. They get a pick to ice the game down. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty good. When you run for 2 yards a carry, it's like someone's gonna pick it up. I thought the defense they stepped up. Now again, can things be better? Of course. Are we the 85 Bears? No. Do I think that everything's fine? Also, no. So those are old sunshine pumping, Parmesan eating Kirk over here saying that the defense is great. And it's like, no, but we won. Again, Alabama lost to Vandy, Georgia lost to Bama, like a lot of teams, Michigan lost to Illinois last week. I mean, so again, we won. Did we play like trash on offense? Yes. Can we get better? Yes. Does our offensive line coach have to go work tonight? Probably. They probably should. I'm sure they won't, but they probably should. Does the offensive lady to figure it out real quick before we go to Happyville? Yes. But hey, with a big especially with Zen going down, I mean, you better get this figured out quick. I'm talking tomorrow, man. This is it. I mean, the season, and again, we could still make it with 2 losses, but Penn State's going to be ready to roll, and this is going to be a big one for us. And after we beat them last year, and after Drew Aller had the worst game of all time, we can't afford to go 1 for 10 against Penn State on third down like we did against Nebraska today. So again, offensive staff that makes $20 million a year combined. Like, let's go, guys. Let's figure out a way to get a first down on third down. Mike Patel, thanks for the 5. It's never as bad or as good as it seems, but I got a bad feeling about next week. Well, we're going to find out. Let's see what Ryan Day's worth. And again, we've owned Penn State. Like, that's the only thing I was hanging my hat on is no matter how good Penn State seems to be, we figure out a way to beat them. Now, again, they could beat us next week. Again, they beat us 1 time since 2011, and that was in 16, which everybody remembers the blocked field goal. But we've owned Penn State. Now, teams change, players change, everything changes. So, and again, they'll be absolutely an inferno. But again, it's going to come down to the leadership of this team, and the leadership of the offensive line, because the offensive line they've got to play better. And again, this will be the biggest challenge on the schedule for these guys. And this is as good as playing Georgia in a neutral site. Penn State's front 4 is very good, and our guys better get their minds right and get ready to go. Because again, I've played out there. I know what it's like to play tackle in Happy Valley better than any other media member there is, because I've done it, and it is ridiculously hard. So guys better get ready, but you can do it. And again, whoever plays left tackle, if we don't help him, I will literally scream during the postgame show, because I don't know what else we need to do. I said going into this game, you got to help Zen. Got to help him. First start, going against decent front. They were a top 25 defense before they got smashed by Indiana last week. So I don't know, but we didn't really help him, and Zen struggled, and then he got hurt. So again, Zen doesn't even have a chance to kind of redeem himself if he's going to be dinged. I'd imagine he's going to be out next week. If he couldn't put any pressure on that knee, it's going to be hard for him to play next week. So get ready for the Donnie show or the whoever you're going to put left tackle show. Nevada, your thoughts? How are you feeling about next week?
I mean, like, the one thing I've learned from watching college football, from betting inordinate amounts of money on college football over the years, is the transitive property of that doesn't work from week to week. Just because you beat Team A by 3 and they beat Team B by 7 doesn't mean that they'll beat you by 10. Every game is an individual roll of dice, man. So how am I feeling? If these guys can figure out a suitable answer to the left tackle issue, feeling fine. I think the pressure packages that we played today, I think Drew Aller will soil himself. Okay, I saw Drew Aller soil himself against Ohio State last year in the shoe.
Ooh,
That was one of the worst.
ooh,
That was terrible. 1 for
ooh.
15 on third down. He looked scared to death. And if we bring the pressure against him, he's absolutely capable of doing that. So that alone will keep us in the game. But we got to find an answer to the left tackle spot, because if we can't run the football consistently and we're having to throw it on every play, I don't think we're as effective as we need to be. And there's lots of ways you can get that left tackle some help, and there's lots of interesting things that they can do. But they got to get that. That to me, it's such an obvious one, but it's that is the obvious question. Solve the left tackle issue. I liked how the defense looked today. And forget a bit about I don't care about even the results: 273 yards, 17 points, or numbers of tackles for losses, or whatever it is. Because I had some guy on the board. He's usually a good poster, but I think he's drunk, and he's like, "Well, they're just a terrible offense." I'm like, I wasn't talking about just how it happened. It's like what the defense did, how the defense played. Because I mean, you've watched football a long time. Can you think of a time where there's been a bigger transformation in terms of midseason philosophy for a defense from the Oregon game to this game?
No, I mean, it was constant pressure today.
Constant pressure.
Ends were getting upfield. We were doing a lot of blitz zero, a lot of or if we were running zero, we were running like a one kind of spy-ish type thing where it's man across the board. You might pop out one of the guys from blitzing to spy on Dylan Rillix, who's running around a little bit. But I liked the plan today because I thought we wanted to harass the quarterback, get after him. And, again, like the second to last offensive play Nebraska had, our ends were flying up the field, and Cody Simon made a great play. And then, after all that pressure, Dylan Raiola airmails one to Jordan Hancock, and he ices the game now. So again, people want to beat on our defense, but they won the game. They iced it down after the targeting and after all that adversity. They get a pick, they end it. We take knees, game's over, life's good. Because again, like if the defense rolled over and died, then all of a sudden, and again, I thought I was probably crazy, and people say I'm an idiot, but I'm like I said, look, in a shootout versus the number one team in the country, they held them to a field goal, a 19-yard field goal. We got the ball back with 1:40 last game. To me, that was a win. That was outstanding defense. To hold Oregon on the 1-yard line to a 19-yard field goal, which is demoralizing, getting us the ball back and a chance to win the game, that was good defense. And they had 2 stops inside the 10-yard line last week, and and they were good today. And again, even if Nebraska sucks or whatever people want to say, like they've got guys on scholarship too. And when we played out there, like they were really, really, they were a problem. Like, I think they're, again, not going down the moral victory road, but they were well coached. And I think that their coach does a good job, and their kids played hard, and they've got a lot of pride in that program after they got smashed by Indiana. So they came out and played well, and we didn't play so well. So it was one of those deals where you go through the whole thing, and I don't know. Like I said, I think that this is, but it's, again, another wake-up call. And again, I know people actively root for us to lose every week so that they can say, I told you so, but it's up to the players. I mean, there's nothing that we can do as people that do this broadcast and the fans. I mean, this is up to Ryan Day. And more importantly, it's up to the players to play better, and to get control of everything and get rolling. Nevada Sean Rollins, thanks for the 20. Win or lose, Kirk and Nevada have the hardest job. Say, listen, I don't think so. I mean, if I'm one of these coaches, they got a way harder job than I do. I mean, me and Nevada just come on here and kick it and have fun and make fun of each other for a couple hours and try to entertain you guys. And I think we do a good job because you guys tune in and get to laugh a little bit. But Nevada, do you think that we have the hardest job maybe on earth or no?
I mean,
no, the board can be pretty hard right now.
I gotta be honest. It just the constant drum beats of negativity are just they do get weird. They do make you weary. They do wear you down. You've been doing this shorter time than I have. It's just I've been through this with Ohio State fans for decades, and I'll never really understand the mentality of some people in terms of how they react to stuff like this. But hey, it's the life we've chosen, and tomorrow I may wake up and go, Kirk, I just don't want to do this anymore. It is leave. But but tonight I'm going to celebrate the win. I'm going to be happy. I liked what the defense did. That honestly, that really pleased me because I was concerned in the back of my mind that they could make such a radical philosophical change midseason like that. And man, they were rushing inside. They were rushing out. They were being smart about their rush. They weren't just like, it wasn't just willy nilly. You could tell they hadn't done it a bunch. So in game situations, so they were still figuring stuff out in terms of getting to their lanes and stuff. But when they, a few times when they rushed but Kenyatta dropped into the short zone and then Penn State threw into the short zone, or it's not Penn State, rather, Nebraska, and our guy was right there. That's when you're guessing right. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you guess right and that stuff happens. You look really smart and sometimes it doesn't work out so well and they make memes out of it and over and they make it sounds ridiculous. But no, I thought the defensive pressure to me was the biggest bright spot of the day, and the left tackle play was just an absolute F. It's like we made no progress and our worst nightmares came through on the Jimmy Simmons injury. And like I said, after we lost to Oregon, man, I was not bothered at all. That night I slept like a baby, but the Jimmy Simmons thing bugged me, and I said so on the podcast over and over again. That one you can't you can't come back from because it just leaves such a giant hole. But now I think we've got a bigger hole, more question marks, and less time to figure it out. So I'm definitely going to be I'm going to be a little nervous going into next week because of that.
Sean, again, I appreciate you, and thanks for being a mod on here as well. You guys are awesome. Devin, Ohio 715. Thanks for being an ultra member. Thanks for being a mod. Thanks for being part of the Buckeye Boys. Make sure you guys follow and subscribe to the Buckeye Boys. We need LaCharles Bentley. Fry needs to be let go immediately. Nevada OH.
I
mean, I know LaCharles will be interested, but it's again, everything is always fun and to like ponder, but it's taking that job, it's a tough job, man. I mean, every O-line coach in the history of Ohio State has been absolutely hated by the fan base forever. So even if we hire LaCharles, our fans are going to hate him immediately. So I don't know. I mean, I think Justin, we got to get this fixed, obviously, but this is going to be a big week because this is going to come down to our tackles blocking their ends, in my opinion. And we have to get better push in the running game. So that's play calling. Again, I don't know what Quinshawn and Trey can do because a lot of these times they're getting hit at the line of scrimmage. So there's not a lot of room for, I don't know how you can blame the running backs when they're getting hit in the backfield. And some of that's scheme. And some of this, you better run some read option stuff or, help these guys out. And because they were doing some stuff against the read option I think we could have taken advantage of. But just my thoughts. Nevada, your thoughts. We need LaCharles Bentley is what Devin says, and Justin Friday to be let go of immediately. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I like LaCharles. LaCharles offered to work with Ohio State and Ohio State players for free, and Ohio State turned him down. That's just a fact. That happened. Would I have done that if I was Ohio State? No. Would I find some way to get LaCharles Bentley involved in some way, shape, or form? Yes. Does Fry need to be fired now? No, I'm not reactionary like that. But Fry's got to go earn his money. He's got to go earn his money, and we need to have at least somebody out there that can play. They've got to shuffle the line. They've got enough guys. You've got a guy in Carson Hinsman who started 15 games last year, 14 games, 13, whatever it was at center, double-digit starts last year at center. The fact that you cannot get him back on the field is absolutely that to me is the criminal malpractice on the part of Ohio State football in general and Justin Fry in particular. That one, the kid was a freaking Iron Buckeye during the offseason, and you've gone through the what it takes to earn that moniker, and that is hard as heck to do. Yeah. So the fact that you can't even find any way for him to be passable enough to play, that's absolutely crazy, and that's on Fry, and he needs to figure that out.
Yeah, it's weird, and we also chase Enoch off. I mean, Enoch's playing for Washington, and again, you can't have enough linemen, as we're finding out. This is as devastated of an offensive line as I've seen. I mean, since really Urban showed up. Like we never used to get injured on the O-line. So this has been one of those years where it's been a little trippy. Poopier 12, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you. Thanks for being an ultra member as well. I don't want to read into one play too much, but if Donnie Jackson is our left tackle next week, that is a huge referendum on how poor our O-line / offensive tackle recruiting has been. Yeah, I mean, like it hasn't been great, but we kind of knew that. And also, with the portal, guys leave. And so, but I mean, Luke Montgomery was recruited to be a tackle and they're playing him at guard. And, we got Josh Simmons out of the portal. So, I mean, as much as it's easy and fashionable to beat on Fry for the O-line recruiting, like, I mean, you got to give him credit for Josh Simmons and Seth McLaughlin because Seth's been playing well. And Josh Simmons was as good of a tackle as there was in the country before he got hurt. So, but this is where you test your depth. And again, I mean this sincerely. There aren't many teams that can withstand losing their starting left tackle, especially when he's an All-American. So, I mean, most teams that get down to their second, especially if they get down to their third tackle, it's going to look atrocious. Like when I played, like if I had gotten hurt, we were screwed. Just is what it is. We didn't have any other backup tackles. Me, Booney. Some positions we had more depth than others, but a lot of teams, if they lose their starting left tackle, man, it is going to be tough sledding. And it happens in the NFL too, guys. Like when you guys watch the Browns when they don't have 3 tackles and they got a bunch of practice squatters out there, it's like vomit trying to watch. Yeah, so I think that it's going to be an interesting week to get these guys ready to go. Tim Z, thank you for the 5. Just checked in. Were they looking ahead? I just don't think you can after you lost. You got to go get through Nebraska, and I don't think you can spend time looking at Penn State when you're. I mean, as much as I'd like to say it, like when you lose a game, man, you got to. They spend 2 weeks getting ready for Nebraska because when you've got that bye week, you start game planning and doing scout team work versus Nebraska stuff. So you get that extra week of prep on them. So I don't think you can look ahead. Not in the Big Ten. I mean, the Big Ten is too good, and it's not like Nebraska's. It's not Akron. They've got guys that can play. I mean, Dylan Raiola is the number 1 quarterback in the country for a large part of last year. I don't know if he finished as number 1 guy. So I mean, you got some talented dudes, and they're 5-2 coming into the game. So this isn't like some 2-4 outfit coming in. This is a 5-2 team that, before that Indiana loss where they got annihilated, like they were, a top 25-ish type team. So I don't think you can look past that type of a team. Nevada, do you think that Ohio State was looking ahead?
No, I mean, I don't think they were looking ahead. I just think that I thought defensively they were working on some stuff, changing a philosophy, and we saw the good and the bad on that side of the ball. Offensively, I think, they figured out that, they're trying to play with the left tackle who could not play. And so I don't think it was looking forward. I just think it was trying to make in-game adjustments to the fact that they couldn't protect on the left side. And that was problematic.
Rick Smith, thanks for the deuce. If you have a question, try to toss that in the chat. Appreciate you, my man. MT3 Brian, thanks for the 5. Can we talk about how horrible officiating has been this year? It's ruining the game. I mean, I think it goes without saying at this point. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, and the capstone of it was obviously the Georgia Texas call where they reverse a pass interference, which I've never seen that before. Not after a 10-minute delay where they're picking up all the bottles off the ground. But Nevada, how bad's the officiating been this year?
I mean, bad. I mean, really, really bad. And it seems like it's gotten worse. And I don't believe it's just because of social media and because whatever. I'm not sure what that they've done or how we've kind of got to this point. But the officiating, I mean, that play, that was to our benefit. I didn't think it was as big a deal as they were making about it, but it was where they spotted the guy short on the second down run where he was like 3 yards past the first down marker, and they marked him like short. Like how does that happen? Well, so
yeah, there's no words, but it has been absolutely terrible. Maurice Clarinet, thank you for the 5. Hope you're doing well, my friend. What odds would you give us to win the Natty pre-Simmons injury versus post-Simmons? Well, obviously with Josh, the odds, I thought we'd be favored. Without Josh, we're probably in the top 5. I think, Josh's injury has been a catastrophe for us, and it's been very tough to replace him. And it's been noticeable that our running game has gone to the crapper without him because he was He's really good. I mean, you get him out in space, man. That dude he could knock guys off in space. He could climb the second level. I highlighted a lot of that, and he was absolutely excellent at it. But what are your thoughts, Nevada? Odds you give us to win the Natty pre-Simmons injury versus post-Simmons injury?
I mean, odds to do something in a 12-team playoff that we've done 3 times in my lifetime. I mean, I don't know, 8 to 1, 10 to 1 before the Simmons injury, and after the Simmons injury, maybe 12 to 1. I don't. It's hard, man. It's going to be hard. I've never been national championship or bust, just because it's so hard to win a national title. But I think this team is built to do well. Am I surprised that we're at this spot with no answer at left tackle? I am surprised. I think the defense is coming along nicely. I like the defense. I think Will Howard has been better than advertised. I think J.J. Smith somehow surpassed all the lofty expectations we had for him. I think the running backs have been great. But the one thing I'm shocked by is how bad our left tackle play is after 7 weeks, and that's been the biggest surprise to me of the season, and probably the biggest reason that I have trepidation about the team going forward.
Great, Christopher J. Rich, thanks for the 10. Does it kind of tick you off a little bit that Day, if he gets canned, will not be our OC, but will be someone else's and probably do really well? Well, I don't think if Ryan gets canned at Ohio State, he'll be a head coach in about 1 minute, because I think there's a lot of programs that would love to have him as the head coach. What are your thoughts on that, Nevada? If Day got canned, I mean, he'd be a head coach, I think, tomorrow. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he'd be a hot commodity. We won. Why? I mean, I mean, it's like people had kind of got themselves all worked up because we fell behind, and that the Ryan Day has to be fired. I mean, Ryan Day's our head coach. Um, who's going to be better? I mean, who do you guys have that's going to be better other than Signetti, who will never lose a game coaching? Who is going to be better than Ryan Day? I've just seen this play out so many times where, I mean, Kirby Smart was on the plank and they were walking him out and they're ready to push him into the water, and somehow he saved himself and jumped back on the ship, and now he's the legendary Kirby Smart. Man, you have to be patient with these things. It's we can get it figured out. Ryan Day can get it. Do you think Ryan Day can't change? Well, look how much he changed the defense in 2 weeks. Look how much he changed the defense. That was a radical change. So now we need to be a little bit smarter and figure out this hole that we've got on the left side. He can figure it out. Let's give him a chance to do it. I think he can do it. I have faith.
Pabir 12, thanks for the 5. Okay, last one. Caleb Downs is the ultimate eraser and prevented a few huge plays. He's better than advertised. We're lucky to have him. Yeah, Caleb Downs is awesome. So again, that's why people that don't like the NIL stuff, I love it. It's great because we get guys like Caleb Downs to come play for us. Jared Henniger, thanks for the 10. It was disappointing that the coaching staff had 2 weeks to evaluate Zen and didn't see this coming. Wouldn't they see if he wasn't ready when he went against their starting line in practice? Well, it might not be that. Maybe they just thought that he was our best option, and maybe our other options aren't as good as him. So, again, I didn't think Zen was terrible against Oregon. I mean, I thought he took a step back today, but I don't know, Nevada. It's interesting because people are, obviously Zen's walking the plank now, and he had one of those days, but I don't know. I mean, and again, that's why I always say evaluate guys in games. Practice is great, but there's no pressure in practice. If you give up a sack or give up your quarterback can't get hit in practice. So there's a whole different world once you get out into the real game and the quarterbacks aren't protected. Because if you screw up in a real game, the quarterback can get hurt and he can turn the ball over. So, what are your thoughts, though? Is it disappointing that the staff had 2 weeks to evaluate Zen and didn't see this coming? Your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little perplexing. I hope you're wrong. I hope the All-American is wrong. I hope that really wasn't that he was just clearly our best option. I hope that he played. Some guys play better during practice and don't play better in the games, and I hope that was the situation. because I had not heard that he was a turnstile during the run up to the game. So I hadn't got that information. So I hope that's not. I hope he's just not better than everybody that we have, because that'd be trouble. But you haven't been on our message board as much. So who do you think? Okay, give me who are the people that have to go now? Who are the people that need to be fired? Who are people calling to be fired on our message board right now?
On the current, I mean, Fry for sure.
Okay, Fry. We know he's got to be fired.
Far and away. Larry Johnson, because people hate Larry Johnson for whatever reason. Even though we had 3 of our guys had sacks, I'd say Tim Walton probably because of last week. Jim Knowles for sure, just because they hate Bad Santa. I mean, I literally could almost say anybody except for Heartline. I mean, obviously Ryan Day. Ryan Day needs to get fired every week, no matter win, lose, or draw.
No, but there's a new name on the bingo card. Here's the popular one. Here's the popular one. Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly sucks.
No way.
Oh yeah, that's the big one. That's
I called this. Like I said, like whoever the offensive coordinator is, like we could have God as our offensive coordinator. People would hate him. Like I mean, it's just like this is what it is. Like that's our fan base. Like they'll hate whoever we have. Like we get our Bill Belichick to be our DC next year, and that Belichick guy, games passed him by, doesn't know anything, schemes bad, antiquated pass rush. Like, okay, that's this life in the big city. Like people hated Ryan Day. I mean, everyone wants to fire Ryan. People want to fire Urban Meyer. Hell, they want to fire Woody Hayes. You know, I mean, like Woody did his run. I mean, people were going to gas him about every day. So I mean, it's the circle of life, baby, and that's where we're at. Is that Chip Kelly is now gone? He's a fraud. He's no good.
He was always overrated. What has he ever done? He's a fraud. I'm just reading this stuff and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
And that's what this was like. I mean, for the first 6 weeks, it was like he's the greatest thing of all time, and that was like terrible and a fraud.
And he didn't have a good game today. I started up. I said today, he did not have a good game today. But does that make him a fraud, or that he should be fired? Or like, gosh, what are you guys thinking, man? Like, get a grip, man. Come on.
Well, like, I'm serious. And in the chat, I want to hear what you guys say. If we fire Ryan Day, okay, you're the athletic director. Everybody in the chat is now the athletic director of Ohio State. If we fire Ryan, who are we hiring? Kirk Yeti, who none of you had ever heard of until 2 weeks ago. And again, we're fair. We are not Ryan Day homers, apologists. We're not, he's not our Kim Jong-il and we're the North Korean state media like everyone else on the beat. Absolute state media, absolute in bed, openly rooting, no intelligent thought ever. We're as fair and balanced as you can get, which is why our ratings smoke everybody, because we're fair. We're accurate. If they are good, we're honest and we say they're good. If they're bad, we're honest and we say that things need to change. So, but yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Cade Weston, thank you for the 10 on that targeting. They overturn and make it a catch. Does that mean he clearly became the ball carrier and is thus no longer a defenseless player? Or is there a gray moment between catch carry? I've never seen that before. Because again, when I rewatched it, I was like, how's that not a fumble? I mean, it's literally his knee's not down, ball's out. But again, I learned something new from the officials every week about something that I didn't think existed that exists now, or is how they do things. Like, I don't understand how. I get it could be targeting. I don't understand how they keep the ball when it's a clear fumble. But that's just me. Nevada, have you ever seen that? Does it, when he becomes a ball carrier, does he no longer become a defensive player? I have no idea on this one.
Well, what didn't make any sense on that was because he fumbled. And I understand you're not going to give us the fumble because the fumble was the fruit of the targeting tree or whatever it is. But then the 15-yard penalty should be from the original line, not from where he caught the ball. That doesn't make any sense. He fumbled. He fumbled the ball. How could he lost the ball? So how are you going to give him the ball from there because he lost the ball? None of that made any sense. But the targeting call itself, let's not lose sight of how egregious that was. That was a truly awful call.
Yeah, and we're missing Arvell for the first half against Penn State, which is going to suck. It's terrible.
Not great.
Tummy Tom 10, thank you for the 5. You can say we won all day, but this is supposed to be a super team. You guys were talking about it at the beginning of the season. Has that changed? Well, I mean, we lost our left tackle, obviously, he was the second best player on our team when he got hurt. So that has crippled us. Is it a super team? I mean, we've got a lot of great players. I mean, I don't know who had to take over J.J. Smith or Quinshawn or Trey Will Howard's been fantastic. He had a bad pick today, but other than that, he's been pretty good. But I don't know. It just depends on how the next couple of weeks go. I think I feel a lot more super teamy with Josh Simmons playing left tackle than I do without him, because I think if we have Josh Simmons at left tackle versus Oregon, I think we win it by at least 10 points instead of losing by 1, because I think that he was that deadly for the offense. Because again, I watched what they did with him and how good he was. And again, I'm telling you, I talked to the personnel director that said he was maybe the top tackle in the entire draft. So, I mean, they're looking at him. I mean, and that's off his first 6-7 weeks of film and his movement, and what Chip Kelly likes to do with the tunnel screens and stuff. A guy like Josh getting up there is incredible. But what are your thoughts, Nevada? Has it changed the super team talk?
Well, I mean, circumstances change. I mean, look, I've said all along there were 2 players that if we lost that would change everything for me about how I view the team.
Yep.
One was Will Howard. So if Will Howard's no longer the quarterback at Ohio State, then I no longer feel as bullish about our chances going forward. The second was Jimmy Simmons. Any other player on the field, I'm just like, next man up. Somebody gets hurt, next man up. Lathan Ransom goes down, bring in next man up or whatever. But Will Howard or Jimmy Simmons, hard to replace it. Not impossible, really hard to replace. And so we've lost one of those guys. So does it change my view about the super team? Well, I think the circumstances have changed. So I don't feel as good that we don't have a starter at left tackle that's a first team All-American and a guy that's probably the top draft pick in the NFL draft. And today, the fact that his backup came in and didn't seem ready for prime time. So that gives me a lot of concern going forward. Like I said, much more so than the game results or a one-loss win at Outson, a 4-point win at home. None of that stuff matters to me as much as we need to find a credible left tackle that can play up to our standards. So to me, the circumstances that definitely had changed. Given that law, and I'd say the same thing if we lost Will Howard and had to go to Devin Brown or Julian Sain. I'd be like, yeah, I don't feel as good about our chances there, and I think we could sustain it at any other position but those 2 spots.
Totally agree. I'm telling you, lose those guys, it's tough. MT3 Brian, thank you for the 10 as a 25-year firefighter and U.S. Navy veteran. Thank you both for all you do for safety forces and veterans. Yeah, there isn't a show that is grateful and is thankful for you guys as we are. Again, we like to try to say it every day. I try to do it every day, but we're thankful for you guys protecting us, for keeping us safe, free. Interesting story today. So my mom actually left the house today. She babysat for us last night, so Kim and I could go grab dinner. That's why we didn't have a show last night. And she pops a flat tire right north of Columbus, and waiting on AAA. AAA says it's gonna be like 2 hours. State trooper pulls up, and I was like, oh my God, my mom's gonna get tasered too. That's gonna be absolutely hilarious. And then all of a sudden, the state trooper pops out and she's crying because she thinks she's gonna get arrested or something because she's silly. And all of a sudden, the guy is like, "How are you okay, ma'am?" And they sees a flat tire, and state trooper literally changed my mom's tire. Now, mind you, I'm at the game, wow. So like I'm indisposed. Changes the tire because it's gonna be 2.5 hours for AAA. Has her on her merry way, and again, that's the type of people that we have in our law enforcement. I mean, he literally, and again, it's a super dangerous job. Literally said, "Man, would you just mind standing and checking for cars? Because your cars are buzzing by." This is on the highway. It's on 71, and so. Again, you guys don't get enough recognition, and there's these morons that want to that hurt the police, and they are negative towards the police and defund the police. We aren't that. If I ran this thing, I'd give you guys everything you guys ever needed forever and ever, because again, I think that you guys are superheroes. And again, that happened today. And I'm at the game, and I got to work, and then I got to come do the show, and I gave her my AAA, because again, that's what I would do, because I'm not handy at all. And a state trooper really changed my mom's tire, put on the donut, the spare. So again, thank you to whoever that was. I'm sure he probably has no idea who I am or who they are and whatever, but that was one of the, that's unbelievable that someone would stop and do that, check on my mom. But that's the caliber of human beings that we have, that are in the law enforcement, and again, so when people are stupid and they cause this strife amongst the local citizens and law enforcement, they're morons. And again, I've been on the wrong side of the law, and I felt terrible about it, because again, I love cops. I mean, without cops, it's Mad Max, it's anarchy. So thank you guys. Again, if I've been on the wrong side, I apologize, because I was an idiot, and I hate that I had to put you in that situation. So again, I love our law enforcement. Thank you to the state trooper that did that. You guys are heroes. So thank you for that. So Nevada, again, MT Brown, I appreciate you, man. I'm glad that you sent this, because I get to tell that quick little story. 25-year firefighter and U.S. Navy. Again, I'm a big Navy guy, because my father-in-law, Tony Talismanic, is one of my heroes, one of the greatest human beings in the world. Married his daughter. He was a longtime Navy guy, huge Navy guy. And also, it makes it really easy for Christmas, because I always get him some Under Armour Navy workout gear for when he's down at Fort Myers walking around. But any thoughts, Nevada? Because again, that is again, we love our men and women in uniform. Obviously, our paramedics, firefighters, police officers, all the branches of the military. Home, abroad, retired. Thank you guys for all that you guys do. Your thoughts, Nevada?
Yeah, again, I was an Air Force brat, so grew up in an Air Force family, and I just don't know any other way. I don't even understand the other side. When I hear talk like that, I generally try to understand what the other side is saying, but I don't even understand it, because how can you not respect the military or the police? Or it's the best of the best. So yeah, we're definitely glad to do it, and happy that we have a vehicle to make other people happy.
Yeah. So thank you for that. And again, for people that think they qualified for Pay It Forward, send us a note, buckeyescoop@gmail.com. Again, all you guys, these super chats going to Pay It Forward. We've signed up a slew of new people over the last few weeks. Again, we love getting to know some of the people that are part of the Pay It Forward program for buckeyescoop.com. So it's a membership that you guys basically help us cover, and it's an amazing program. So thank you for that. All right, Nevada, about 2.5 hours or so, 2 hours and 10 minutes. Let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts?
Looks like Will Johnson's not playing again tonight for Michigan.
Yeah,
which we'd heard that he's pulling the chute. So that always makes me happy. So hey, man, when just remember how you felt when Nebraska took the lead and went up 3 points, and then fast forward to, hey, we won the game. So things could be a lot worse. We could be in a lot worse spots. Keep the faith. We did take some steps forward on defense today, which is good. And now let's go figure out the left tackle spot and go beat Penn State next week. But it's gonna be a fun week. And every time we win, it makes me happy. And so now we're all Spartans now tonight. Let's go beat Michigan.
We are all Nevada. We are all Spiros tonight.
Oh gosh, yes,
our
we
boy.
are. We are all chicken. We are all chicken parms tonight.
We're all dumpster diving chicken parmesan fetching boys. Get up in there. I throw them in there like the midget on Wolf of Wall Street at the very beginning when they're throwing him. That's how I launch him into the dumpster, and he's in there swimming around amongst the trash and the Band-Aids and the needles, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, I found some chicken parm." It's like, "Yay, we get to eat tonight, son! I can't wait. I love it. This is gonna be great.
This isn't gonna go to waste." Curse you, Woody Hayes. Wasting his food.
Curse you, operations guy, ordering too much food. I'm gonna find it and eat it all. I can't wait. All right, let's wrap this thing up. So we're delirious at this point. I appreciate you guys kicking it with us. Nice long show. Again, I hope you guys, find some happiness. We won, which again, I know that it wasn't a pretty win, but it was a win. There's a lot of teams that lost today, so we get to at least build on that. We got to get right. Huge week ahead with Penn State. So if you guys want a smoking hot take-filled board, get on the message board. The message board is absolutely insane right now. Again, I just absolutely appreciate you guys, what you do. We got another super chat in here. I'm going to knock this thing out real quick. Thanks for the 5, Timinator 424. It seems like Knowles was comfortable calling all the pressure this week. Do you think it was Day that was forcing him to be so conservative? No, I just think it was the game plan. I think that they were trying to contain Dillon Gabriel, who Dillon was a much bigger scrambling threat than Dylan Raiola. He was much quicker than Dillon, but Dillon did run on us a little bit. But I think that was kind of the game plan. And I didn't think Knowles thought that Denzel would play as bad as he did. So that made it a lot tougher for the game plan. Because again, we only lost by 1. So if we don't have the balls thrown over our head consistently, then we win that game. But I think it was more they thought let's contain Dillon Gabriel, shut down the run, keep the ball in front of us, don't let them throw it over our heads. But when your top corner, who's a All-American and a Thorpe Award candidate, goes 8 for 8 and 160 yards and 2 touchdowns, whatever, it's not good for business. Like, there's not a defense you can design that's going to be productive in that state. So I don't think it was Day. I just think it was Knowles. But I do think Ryan Day issued a pretty stern edict that we're going to be a pressure team going forward, and we'll live with big plays and explosives as long as we're trying to wreak havoc in the backfield, which we did today, which is good. And again, havoc and pressure forces turnovers, and I think Dillon was seeing ghosts today when he threw that last pick to end the game. So that was good for us. But again, if you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys for kicking with us for a couple hours here. Great show. We'll do some All-22 film breakdown tomorrow. About 7 o'clock, we'll be ready to go, kind of in between the 4 o'clock window closing and the Sunday Night Football. So we'll go at 7 tomorrow, break some film down. We didn't break, I don't think we broke any down tonight, but we'll have a bunch for tomorrow. I'll go through the game again and get some good feedback. But again, I just appreciate you guys so much for all that you guys do. If you guys want to help us out and do something spectacular, get on your iPhones, click on the podcast app, type in Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We're trying to grow those platforms. You guys have been helping us. It's free, absolutely free, and it's a humongous help for us. So I thank you guys for all of you that are doing that. But as always, I hope you guys have a great Saturday night. Enjoy the rest of college football. There's some good games on, so enjoy this. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop family. We will talk to you guys tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Be ready to roll. You guys have a great rest of your night. Go